Welcome back to Creepcast. Today we are reading a fan favorite author, C.K. Walker. And we're doing a story that we haven't seen, but I've seen actually a lot of people. I don't know if you've seen this as well, but people have been saying that this story is like a lot of people's favorites. So I am excited. It feels like it's this is something we would have read at like the beginning of the podcast. It seems like a lot of people are like, this one's my favorite. It's called Whitefall. Once again, as always and forever, I have never heard of this before. I was actually curious if you've heard of this one.
So when people would talk, because when I was, younger and reading C.K. Walker stuff, it was like Baraska was like the heavy hitter. So that was the one I always heard in relation. But once we read it for the podcast, a bunch of people started to recommend C.K. Walker's other stories. And similarly to you, Whitefall was one of the ones that people recommended a ton.
Yeah.
So I've mostly heard about it through our comment section and things like that. Because C.K. Walker, look, I said this in the Baraska Part 5, regardless of any qualms I have with her, she put me on the path to want to talk about scary stories online. So, I love her regardless for that. And some of her stories are absolute bangers. Obviously, the first Baraska. And we've read 6 of her stories now, right? Or this will be the 6th. We've read 5 of her stories.
I mean, dude, we
chose and we've had such a great time with stuff like Mayhem Mountain and stories like that. So I love her as an author.
In my book, she is on the Mount Rushmore.
Of course,
is what I say.
Of course.
I think
I agree.
Of this podcast, I believe that C.K. Walker is, I don't know which president, the fans can decide who's who on the mountain, but I will say that I do think that in terms of where we started, where we've ended up and stuff, I think that like so many of the things we've read have all come back to just like comparing our feelings to the first time reading her stories. And I think that's always so cool. And anytime we can, it's always like we read the Mayhem Mountain one on our live show. So I'm excited to actually sit down here and record a new one again without the audience and stuff and just kind of get immersed. And I think this is kind of a longer story too, so I'm excited.
I'm excited for it as well. I'll also mention, because we always try to shout out authors on the story who have new works out and stuff like that. And with C.K. Walker, it almost seems redundant. She's published so many stories, has so much stuff out. But I will mention recently a paperback copy of Baraska.
Yep.
So if you want the classic, where it all began for a lot of us and for the podcast for a large part, we'll have her website linked in the description. You can pick up a paper copy of Baraska. She also has her ebooks out that looks like there's more volumes for, called Cold Thin Air, which I've heard people talk about highly as well. And I mean, again, she has so many stories.
You guys have done a great job supporting the authors and stuff. And that's like that is like the coolest thing about our community, I feel like, is that people actually go and they pick up physical copies and stuff. A lot of the times too, the authors in these physical copies have different writings or different interpretations, since it would like either self-published or however they go about it. So, but like even our buddy Travis, Strange Accounts, his book is doing amazing on Amazon right now. Just wanted to shout out that book again because he's he's a favorite of ours. I think he's becoming a fan favorite as well.
Yeah.
But just happy for him and just very grateful that you guys do go out and pick up these books and stuff, because it really, I mean, it helps the authors a lot, and I think that also there's so much shit with online that freaks me out. Of like, it would just suck one day if it's like, oh yeah, for some reason the website got deleted, so it's gone. Physical media is very important. So I agree. If you guys can, be sure to support the author. Pick up the book.
I'll also point this out about C.K. Walker. We've talked about this before, but she's also done writing for like Netflix shows.
Yeah.
So she wrote on The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, and the upcoming on her website, the upcoming Fall of the House of Usher. Recognized huge industry talent. And it's really cool to see someone who started making creepypastas online go on to like a professional writing career. So that's awesome for her. Love her stuff. Like I said, it'll be linked in the description. But you all have recommended Whitefall to us, so I'm excited to read about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it today. And for everyone who isn't on YouTube watching us right now, thank you for listening on either Spotify, Apple Podcast, or really anywhere that I think you can get a podcast. I think we have it. And thank you for giving us a good rating if you have, because it does help us out. And also just want to shout out our Patreon. We've been doing live streams and we've been reading all kinds of new stories and stuff. So if you're looking for some extra content as well, if the daily fix or the weekly fix isn't enough, consider going over there and supporting the channel. It helps us out. Without further ado, I am ready to jump into Whitefall.
I'm ready to jump into it as well. So I scrolled down real quick and looked at it. There are a ton of quotes. So this is going to be...
I'm ready. Oh, I'm frothing at the mouth for it.
All right, you ain't got to phrase it that way.
Also, I will say I started a toy. Have you seen the toys that we released, or the toy?
Yeah, the Margaret.
Yeah, that's going really well. And just want to say that one day I'm going to make a giant toy of your lips. 1,000,000%. It's going to be I wanted to make a conch shell.
I thought you were about to say something encouraging or like happy about like, oh, thank you to the fans and stuff like that.
Well, I guess it was going to lead into, it was going to lead to me being, we should make some kind of toy or figurine or statue from the show. But I'm like, immediately I was just like, it's got to be your lips or something. I also want to take that photo of your dentist thing and put it on a shirt and sell it like a piece of streetwear. I think that would be hot.
You know, if you go to like my mentions right now on Twitter, most of them are just, okay, dude, I literally just opened Twitter to prove this point. I went to my notifications. Okay.
Yep.
And I scrolled down to something a few hours ago. My gosh, dude. This was just the most recent thing somebody had said to me.
Accurate. I thought that was a picture of Happy Happy for a second.
That's constant. That's just, it does kind of look like Happy Happy, doesn't it?
It does.
That's just constant. That's all the time. It was never brought up. No one ever said a word about my lips till I met you. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think they're beautiful, plump lips, and I'll never joke about them again. You can believe that as much as you want.
What's that merch you wanted to
Well,
make?
that was before. Now I'm saying now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the old you, not the new you. Okay. Whitefall. You ever look back at the end of a fight with someone you love and think, how did we get here? It was almost 30 years ago, and I don't remember how the argument with Melody started, but I'll always remember how it ended, with me packing my stuff and her crying in the bathroom. If I had to guess, it was probably about money. We were in our early 20s. Neither of us had much family. Shit job, shit apartment, shit life. But we had each other. Loved each other. They told me that would be enough, but damn, it wasn't even close to enough. 3 days of not talking to each other, avoiding each other. I don't even think either of us were mad anymore. Just tired. Too tired to push the wall down this time. And then I got a call from my aunt and uncle in Washington. Come to Thanksgiving. Work with my uncles through the holidays. They needed help on their farm. I didn't even think about it. I just said yes. When I told Melody, I could tell she knew what I was really saying to her. Something my aunt and uncle didn't even know. I was going to Spokane for Thanksgiving and I wasn't coming back afterward. Melody didn't fight it. She just went numb. Like me. I spent $42 on a bus ticket from Buchanan to Spokane, which left me with $22 for food to eat on the 3-day trip. Leaving Mel, I was tired just thinking about it. My heart felt scalding hot. The one-way ticket in my pocket as heavy as steel, pulling me down. But my bags were packed and I was here at the bus terminal. The station was shit, as most bus stations were. No cell phones back then, no TVs. Just a smattering of humanity lounging in hard plastic chairs, waiting for their number to be called. I took a long drag off my camel, pulled out my ticket, looking for mine. Christopher Stykes, bus 881, Buchanan, Virginia to Spokane, Washington. Departs 1:35 p.m. This just may be a show of my ignorance. You can get a $20 bus ticket from Virginia to Washington?
Is it not? I guess it's Spokane, Washington, like Washington State, yeah. Because it's not Washington.
No, he spent DC. 42. Okay. You can spend $42 to get from Virginia to Washington.
I mean, to be fair, I've never ridden like a Greyhound that far, so I have no idea. That feels extremely cheap, but I'm not sure.
It has to be. That's like the ultimate form of travel. If you can survive, it's worth it. You have to do it. I glanced at the clock on the wall, 1:18. My eyes slid to the door involuntarily. I wanted to leave this station, go home to Mel, find her and tell her I was sorry and that I wasn't going anywhere. But a small piece of me, a stubborn piece, just kept me sitting there. We had done this dance again and again and again. It never worked. Love was a luxury the poor couldn't afford.
Bus 881 to Columbus, Ohio is boarding at Bay 7. Please proceed to Bay 7 for bus 881.
Shit, no time to finish my cigarette. I smashed the button to the nearest ashtray and stood up, my eyes going straight to the front door. What was I waiting for? The solution to our problem striding in, easy as pie. A sign? Courage to leave and go back to her? God, I wanted that. I wish I had that. Mel was everything to me, but not enough.
You leaving?
Turned toward the voice. A small woman with smoke in one hand and a baby in the other. She gestured to my seat. Took one last look at the front door. All yours. Picked up my bag and headed toward Bay 7. There were 6 people ahead of me, but the driver was quick, taking bags and checking tickets.
That's all?
He asked, waving toward my backpack. Yep.
Buddy, you know you're going all the way to the other coast. Washington, it's on your ticket. You sure that's all you got?
Yeah, I'll just keep it with me. The driver shrugged. I headed toward the bus door, waiting in line to board. I wished for the 50th time I could have afforded a flight. Buchanan to Columbus to Indianapolis to Chicago to Minneapolis to Billings to Spokane with bus changes in Indianapolis and some place called Whitefall in North Dakota. It was going to be a long 3 days. Man, that is a nightmare rotation.
The cross-country traveling it's just a literal prison sentence, though.
Yeah.
Because also the buses are always packed. I've never been on one that isn't just absolutely packed to the brim.
It's different when you're cross-country traveling and you have control of the vehicle, or you know the people in control of the vehicle. It's like a friend group or whatever. It's completely different.
Yeah, sticking on like a time schedule with that, it's brutal.
As the woman in front of me boarded, I looked back toward the bus station again. This was it. I would never come back to Buchanan. It was done. It was over. We were over. And that felt so wrong. It was me and Melody, always. We struggled, but we always came back to each other. Poverty was a prison, but we were in it together. And now I was escaping alone, leaving her behind the bars. I couldn't do this.
Hey, you going or what?
Guy behind me was short, a lot older than me, and clearly travel weary. He also didn't smell the greatest, but that was par for the course on these buses.
Well, come on, man. I just want to sit down.
Coughed and readjusted the bag on my neck. Sorry. I turned back towards the door and stepped up onto the bus. My feelings were strong, but not logical. I loved Melody, but if I went back now, everything would be the same. This was a chance for her too. I picked a seat near the front, so I could be first off for cigarette breaks. There was a window seat available, and I took it, hoping no one would sit beside me. I leaned my head against the window and watched the rest of the passengers board. Lots of men traveling alone, a few families, and one girl who couldn't be more than 18 or 19. She looked nervous and, like me, kept glancing back at the bus station. Did she have reservations about leaving Buchanan too? The longer I watched her, the more certain it became that it was actually the opposite. She was nervous, all right, but it seemed like she couldn't wait to get on the bus. My guess was that she was running from someone. Her eyes slid to the bus station and back so often it was almost funny. She hopped foot to foot and inched closer to the bus door every second as the driver checked her ticket and took her bag. I was watching her close enough that I saw the little sum she made when someone came through the door. I noticed the movement in my periphery, someone bolting toward our bus. I sat up, ready to go out there and intervene if things got violent between the girl and whoever was after her. But when I turned toward the threat, I recognized that long, curly brown hair, heart-shaped face, and wild, green eyes immediately. I tripped over seats and legs in my desperation to get off the bus. As soon as I stepped down onto the pavement, Mel was there, throwing her arms around me, her slight body racked with great heaving sobs.
Chris, I'm sorry. I thought I missed you. I thought you were gone. I wouldn't get to tell you.
Mel, calm down. It's all right. Shh, it's fine. I'm right here.
Chris.
I'm right here. I'm always right here. I ran my fingers through her long hair, letting the curls wrap around my fingers as I'd done a million times before.
I thought I'd missed you.
You didn't miss me, baby.
You aren't coming back, Chris.
I had nothing to say, because I didn't know what I was doing, or even why anymore.
I was gonna let you go. I knew it was what you wanted, and you were dying in Buchanan, suffocating. I was gonna let you go and never come back, I swear.
Well, what's happening, Mel? I whispered into her hair. The driver slammed the door of the luggage compartment and walked around us, boarding the bus.
2 minutes, Romeo, and we're out of here.
Mel, baby, what's happening?
I'm sorry. I didn't know. It was an accident. I was sick over us. And I wasn't sleeping or eating, but I was still throwing up all the time. So I checked. I went to the dollar store and I checked, and I'm pregnant, Chris.
My hand froze in her hair for a few seconds. Pregnant. Mel was pregnant. My sign from the door, my baby, my girl. Mel.
I'm sorry. I thought you should know.
She whispered. I hugged her tighter and breathed into her neck. I was an idiot. I could never give Mel up. Even trying proved how much of a fool I was. She was mine. They were mine. Shh, it's gonna be okay. I'll make it okay. This is our baby, our family. I should never have left, Mel.
I hate this for you. I know you want a new start somewhere else.
No, there's no new start without you.
Listen, buddy, we gotta go.
Driver yelled down from his seat.
Kiss your girl goodbye.
I pulled back from Mel, running my hand along the side of her face. Actually, I'm not going. I just need to grab my bag.
No!
Mel shouted, pulling away from me.
No! You should go. Go be with your family.
My face tightened, pulling into a frown. I'm not leaving you, especially now.
Make up your mind, kid. I ain't missing my connection for this shit.
I recognized that voice as the travel-weary man that had been behind me in the line. My eyes went back to the bus driver above me. You can go.
No!
Mel pulled my face down to look at her.
You wanted a new start in Spokane. Well, so do I. You have family there. I'll keep working here. When I can afford a ticket, I'll come to you.
No, I'm not leaving you alone and pregnant in our shit apartment in our shit neighborhood.
I'll be fine. I want this for you, for us. Chris, I don't want to stay here either. I hate Buchanan. You're always the best thing about it. And I have a piece of you with me.
She touched her belly in my hand and went to cover hers.
I'm still staying with Mandy. It's safe. It's cheaper. I'm fine on the couch for a few weeks. Fuck the apartment. Go to Spokane. Work with your uncles. I'll keep working at Freddy's for a while. Save money, buy a ticket, and follow you.
No.
Chris!
Pulled me closer and closed her hands around the side of my face.
I don't want to raise our baby here. Not here.
She looked close to crying. She was right. Buchanan was the prison. Poverty was the bars. I didn't want to raise our family here either. A deep breath.
Let's go, Romeo. Last call.
I will call you every day when we stop.
Yes.
Every night in Spokane. She nodded, trying to blink away the tears that ran down her face. 3 weeks. You'll be in Spokane in no more than 3 weeks, or I'm coming back. She threw her arms around me and hugged me tight.
You know Mandy's number. I love you, Chris.
I hugged her back. I love you too, both of you. Everything's gonna be okay,
Fuck, kid, let's go!
said the travel-weary man. Only this time his voice was joined by the agreeing moans of the other passengers.
We'll call every day.
Every day, baby. I kissed her head and then pulled back, squeezing her hand one more time before letting go. 3 weeks. Mel nodded and then smiled for the first time in, I don't know. I remember when Mel used to smile. Felt like years ago. Forgot how beautiful it was. Like pure light. Bounced up the stairs, hopped over legs, and jumped into my, thankfully still empty, seat. Then I turned to look at my gorgeous girl out the window. She was still smiling, though it was less brilliant and more warm tint. And that's how I felt too. Fulfilled. Like no matter what, everything was going to be all right. Because I was going to make sure it was. And nothing was going to stop me from taking care of my girl.
Fucking finally.
Someone mumbled nearby. The driver shifted into gear, and with a stutter, the bus began to pull away from the station. Mel waved to me. She was still crying, but she seemed at peace. Because she believed in me. We were going to make sure everything was okay. I watched her until we turned onto 19th Street. The bus station and my girl disappeared around the corner, but I continued to look backward because I could still feel her there. I wasn't leaving her behind. We were a team.
We're 11 minutes behind, you know.
What? I jerked forward at the voice. It was the weary traveler, sitting up in his seat and looking over the back of it. I finally gave him a good, hard once-over. He was grizzled from the road, but well-kept. He had to be in his 60s. The man's hair was an interesting spatter of brown and gray, and his clothes screamed blue-collar tradesman. His brown eyes were focused on me, narrowed and unhappy. We're not 11 minutes behind because of me. I held up the bus for maybe 5. Sorry.
I got a connection to make. I better not fucking miss it because of you.
I'm sure we'll make up 11 minutes by the time we get to your connection.
You better fucking hope so. I'm going to Post Falls to see family.
I just stared at him, wondering why he was volunteering this information.
That's in Idaho.
The man shook his head.
Little shit.
Dropped back into his seat. I leaned my head against the headrest and stared out the window, watching Buchanan slip away. The last 20 minutes had left me with a lot to process. I was going to need to convince my cousin Lloyd to take me on full time, not just through the holidays. I was going to have to work hard, save money. That meant no drinking, but I should probably cut that out anyway since I had a baby on the way. A baby. Holy shit. Mel and I were going to be parents.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Bradley, and I'll be a drive all the way to St. Louis if you're going that far. Our first stop is going to be Columbus, Ohio, where those of you going to Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Louisville will make bus changes. That should be in about 6.5.
Slung my headphones over my head and pressed play on my Walkman. Closing my eyes as the sweet notes of Guns N' Roses' Patience drifted in. It's Mel and I song.
So
Okay, so there's an asterisk there,
yeah,
bit of
yeah. So
break, I think.
good spot to.
This is big talk from a guy who abandoned his wife.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I don't know. It seems like a there's a lot of different things happening, which is we get introduced to a guy who's like, I'm devastated. My relationship is over. Right. This kind of thing.
Right.
I'm going up to see family. I'm going to go live with them. Then all of a sudden, his supposed ex comes up. She's like, by the way, I've been feeling fucking sick. I'm actually pregnant. And then I don't care. I don't care who you are. Just wait a couple more weeks until you can afford tickets for both of you. Am I wrong? Him leaving right there feels insane to me.
If they are so poor that he had $62 to his name.
That's true. That's true.
And he used 2/3 of his savings to buy one bus ticket. I feel like it's like, hey, I have a job lined up in Washington. I have to go to that.
It's mostly like such a bombshell. You know what I was thinking though the entire time was I was like, a guy's like, I'm lost. We need to break up. Whatever. This place is a shithole. And then immediately it's like a pregnancy comes in. And it's like, well, the baby. That's the best thing to fix a marriage, or the best thing to fix a relationship is introducing a baby.
You know what pulled me out of poverty and a love lost relationship?
Another mouth
a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna fix this. Which I understand, like him being in the situation where kind of all hope's lost. It's like, hey, you now have a life that you created that you're responsible for and stuff like that. And that kind of almost sobering him up a bit to any discontent he had towards Mel. But it does feel a little out of left field just because we don't get a ton of context as other than just saying that they were poor, which is like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but you wouldn't leave someone you loved over it. So
I'm wondering how much of that introduces it to his character though. Because it's kind of interesting because when you said it, you were like, well, he has a job that he needs to do, it's there, which, Buchanan could just be a place where there's no work. Just, it's horrible, but it also does seem it's just like you didn't have a job there. Like it's we have, I don't think that we fully revealed this character yet. You know what I mean? It's like all these little things where it's like, well, all I have is this much money to my name. And then now he's supposed to support a kid. And it's like, what was the job situation before? It's just a little bit like when we were first reading it, which I doubt it's this, I was almost like, they sound like crack addicts or something, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They seem like kind of like a wiry, like unemployed couple that's just like tumultuous relationship where he's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to leave and go back home to my family.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of, again, there's not a lot of context given. He talks about he probably can't, drinking's the first thing that came to his mind.
Yep.
So it kind of implies that maybe he was an alcoholic or he is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some kind of vice that maybe contributes or was a cause of the poverty. And maybe you could say that just being in that state of poverty, both of them were so depressed that that's what made them draw away from each other. Neither of them were really capable of giving emotion or feedback to another person. So they kind of both just lost any love they felt. And then I could see how a child would, reawaken that feeling. But yeah, I think it's more so the language switch for me where it goes from like, I'm just done, I gotta go. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. He's like, my sweet angel, my beautiful, lovely honey baby. It's like,
delusional.
All right, well, that's tough talk from a guy that was gonna just never look back. Now it's like 3 weeks or I'm back. It's like, okay.
Yeah, very like.
But like you said, it is kind of symptomatic of an addict or someone who is very short term thought process, does stuff quickly.
I have learned my lesson, Isaiah, from the Spire in the Woods character. Okay.
Wait, what do you mean by the Spire in the Woods connection?
I guess at the beginning we were like, this guy's really down on his luck, and then later he turns out to be a fucking monster. I'm saying I've learned to be like, I don't know.
Here's the difference. Spire in the Woods, we had all of those clues literally shoved in our face in some occasions, and we just ignored all of them. Didn't. And you know what it was? It's because we were young and free.
Dude.
We were being too guy about it. We were being too much of guys.
We were young and free.
But it's the first little section, and there have been no clues laid out to give us that. So I'm confident in my stance. Now, if we get another 18 chapters, and there's more stuff about, a girl.
I still think I won't see my reading, my comprehension, or my like media literacy or whatever. Mm-hmm. I bet it's like a giant red flag, and I'm like, God, that's a great blue flag.
Yeah.
Hey, wake up! We're stopped.
I jerked awake, folding upright in my seat. The weary traveler was giving me a dirty look.
Everybody has to get off. You're holding us up again.
Leaned forward and dragged my hands down my face, wondering how long I'd been out. Where are we?
Charleston, come on. Get the fuck off the bus so the driver can lock it. He needs to take his break.
The man grabbed my arm and began to pull me out of my seat. Get off me, I'm going. I shook him off and stepped out into the aisle, grabbing my bag and slinging it over my shoulder. I'm trying to hold you up, damn.
Yeah, well, you are. I have to make my connection.
Me too, man. All got places to be. Climbed down off the bus and nodded at the driver. We were in a McDonald's parking lot. Thank God. I could take down half a dozen Big Macs right now. Now that I had my girl back, it's that language that gets me. Now that I had my girl back, it's like, why did you not have her? That's right, you were abandoning her.
Now that my girl's pregnant, now that my girl has a fetus inside of her, I love her again.
Now that she will never get away from me.
I just want to say, I would rock that fucking old man's face. I would deck him.
Oh, an old guy physically grabbing you to pull you up,
manhandle me out of that chair.
Yeah.
My heel, your temple. I'm talking roundhouse kick. Boom! He's blind on the ground.
Oh my God! Where am I? Where am I?
And I'm like, just fucking put him in a chokehold.
I really like the idea of you just like kicking someone unconscious on a public bus. That'd be awesome.
Can you imagine my like fat stubby legs actually getting up that high and being able to
Bro, the guys who are like the most dangerous fighters are huge, and it's because when they get that weight around there, it is a truck.
Yeah, God forbid it makes a connection.
Yeah, if one of their bones makes contact with one of yours, they win every engagement.
It's time to talk about something scary. Your health. I know I don't go in the doctor as much as I should. If I'm feeling sick, I'll just lie in bed and sleep it away. But that's only because I don't want to have to deal with the appointments, insurance, and blah, 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 blah. That's why I have ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors. Choose the right one for your needs and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. And the nice thing about ZocDoc is that you can filter for doctors that take your insurance, are nearby, and are highly rated. It's super easy to use, and you can find an appointment time that works for you with the right doctor for your needs. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. You don't want to admit it, but you should probably see a doctor. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Creepcast to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Creepcast. ZocDoc.com/Creepcast. Thank you, ZocDoc, for sponsoring the episode. Back to our spooky story.
Now that I had my girl back, my appetite was too. I started walking toward the door, already tasting those amazing burgers. Then I thought about how I only had $22 to eat for 3 days. Plus, I wanted to call Mel every day. That'd be long distance, and I wanted to talk to her for more than a few minutes. Maybe I should wait to eat until we got to Columbus. The bus station would probably have cheaper food like vending machines. It wasn't ideal, but it would get me through. I pivoted and walked over toward a crowd of smokers standing against a wall. I had 9 cigarettes left, and I knew I couldn't afford to buy another pack on the road, so this would be it. Probably for the best. Baby on the way and everything. Wow, a baby.
Excuse me.
I turned at a voice and looked down at a girl from my bus. She was the nervous one, the runner. She didn't seem to be any more relaxed, but then again, we were only a few hours away from Buchanan. Not far enough for her comfort, I'm sure. She was pretty. Dark eyes and skin, long hair. And though she was clearly on edge, there was a directness to her. Strength.
I don't have any money to spare that I can give you, but I was wondering if I could bum a cigarette.
Shook one loose and held the pack out to her. She took it with thin fingers.
Thank you.
Got a light? She shook her head.
I don't have much at all, really.
I lit it for her and then lit mine. So, where are you headed? She took a drag off her cigarette and looked away, playing it close to the chest. That's smart. Got a name?
Yeah. You got one?
This girl's gonna be just fine. Fair enough.
Well, thanks for the cigarette. I usually smoke when I drink, but...
Are you a little young to be drinking? Instead of laughing or responding to my bullshit, she looked away again. Went tried to carry her voice away, but I heard her words anyway.
I'm a little young for a lot of things.
Oof. Jesus.
Honor.
What?
I didn't like that comment.
I know, dude. The shiny gentleman.
The shiny gentleman
is fucking
rises again.
Is peeking over the horizon like that fucking Howl's Moving Castle. Looks like a Ghibli machine just like bouncing over the hill. I'm like, no, not again.
The giant silver meat grinder. You know what would actually be like the greatest trick our audience pulled is if this is like an interim story of Baraska when, you know, hey yo, they got sandwiches. What's her name? Kimber. Hey, okay. To remember her name, I had to remember the meme hey yo, Kimber, they got sandwiches. Yeah. If this is just an interim story of Kimber on the run and our audience kept that secret from us until we read it, I'd be impressed. I'd be kind of hyped on that, actually. Yeah, I'd be down. But yeah, here. I don't think it'll be that, but I do think that theme will be in it, as was just mentioned. Shouldn't have tried to tease her. This girl was not in a place for that. I cleared my throat. Here. She turned back toward me and frowned at my outstretched hand.
No.
Here, take them. Shook the pack of cigarettes at her again.
What do you want for them?
Nothing. They're yours. She continued to eye the pack warily. I promise. Look, I just found out I'm going to be a father in like, 8 months or something. I want to quit anyway. Her eyes jerked up to mine.
The girl at the station?
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. The girl's eyes drifted back down to the cigarettes. I sighed. Her name is Mel. That seemed to be enough. Just giving this girl that much of me. Nodded. I still leery and cautiously took the cigarettes out of my hands.
Thanks.
She pocketed the smokes in a ragged bag slung across her chest. We exchanged no more words. The driver eventually climbed back onto the bus and people began boarding. This was my last cigarette. Ever. If I was strong enough. Damn, I just wanted to enjoy it. Savor it. But that meant I was the last person aboard the bus. Again. Rude traveler took exception. As I dropped into my seat, he shook his head at me.
Of course. You've got no respect for the people, son.
Grew off. Shot out of his seat.
What the fuck did you say to me?
Said, screw off. Grabbed me by the jacket and shook me twice. For a small guy, he was stronger than he looked. My knees banged against the metal chair supports. I grabbed his wrist and squeezed, pushing back. Get the hell off me.
You entitled little piece of shit. You've made the entire bus wait for you 3 fucking times and you've only been in this goddamn thing for 4 hours.
Hey!
I heard the driver shout. Let go, you crazy shit. I hissed at him, shoving him back while trying to avoid the other passengers sitting in aisle seats.
If I miss my connection, I will punch your fucking lights out. I've got people waiting for me.
Hey! Knock it off right now and sit down!
Driver yelled again. No one was intervening. Look, I apologize for what happened in Buchanan. The last time I fell asleep, and I'm damn sure I'm not going to apologize for that.
Just now you held up the whole goddamn bus to smoke a cigarette.
I got on the bus right after that family sitting in the back. You're the one holding the bus up right now, son of a bitch.
Sit down immediately or both being kicked off the bus.
This time the driver stood. Weary traveler released me instantly and shoved me back. I fell into my seat. Crazy asshole. Gave me a disgusted look and sat back down in his seat in front of me. Driver glared at us both.
If I see anything like that again, you will both be left on the side of the road. You're scaring people. There's kids on this bus. Do you get that?
I saluted him with 2 fingers, and the guy in front of me just grunted something agreeable. Driver nodded.
That's your only warning.
Sat down and put the bus in gear, finally pulling out of the parking lot.
What do you think is up with this guy? I'm like, I can't get a read on him. I don't think he's just, I don't think he's just a weird old man. I feel like there's something happening. I don't know. I
The
don't
line,
like it.
I have people waiting for me, felt suspicious.
He just keeps
Like,
saying
no, you
it,
don't.
you know?
You don't understand. I have people waiting for me. I have people waiting for me. It almost sounds like he, maybe, I don't know. I have no idea what the supernatural or like the threat is in this story or something like that, but he's got to be a part of it. And that I have people waiting for me felt odd.
Might be too common, but it is interesting. That's like our main character is going to meet with his family in kind of not as urgent, but there's a parallel between both of them where they're both going to like a destination to meet up with family in some kind of way. I don't know if that has, I don't know if that will, I don't know if that's going to have any correlation or whatever, but just, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be someone he's going to meet or something like that. I don't know, but we also have no idea what the threat is yet.
Exactly.
So it's hard to, yeah. Sometimes in these stories it's supernatural, sometimes it's not, you know, with CK Walker, so we'll see. I tried to fall back asleep, but I was too hungry, too agitated. Stared out the window at the passing cars. Some had babies, and I studied those intently. A little sedan went by. Father with his toddler in a car seat behind him. He was smoking a cigarette while his baby slept in the back. And even though the window was cracked, I could see the clouds of smoke drifting back from the front to a sleeping kid. Hell no. That would never be me. I was done with cigarettes. It wouldn't be like that, Dad. More cars passed us. I started to make up stories about who they were and where they were going. The Lincoln, New York to oversee a company merger. Pick up with the trailer. Louisville to buy a horse. The minivan with the smiling parents. Disneyland on a family vacation. Yeah, I would do that too. Take my kid to Disneyland. Something neither Mel nor I had ever gotten to do. And yeah, I wanted to do that for her too.
M&M's?
I whipped my head around as someone dropped into the seat next to me. It was the runaway. I was confused. What about him? She frowned.
Do you want some?
He held out a yellow bag.
Sorry, they're peanut. They're the only ones I could grab when I left.
Trailed off and looked down at the bag.
So, do you want some?
Held my hand out. Hell yeah, I'm starving. Peanut M&Ms are the shit. The peanut M&Ms are objectively the best M&M as well. So
Disagree, but good.
She smiled then. It was a small one that didn't reach her eyes, one that was more of relief than happiness, but there it was. And like my Mel's smile, it was beautiful. She dipped the bag into my waiting hand and didn't stop until the bag was empty. Are you sure? Because I got no issue eating all these, but they're your M&Ms. She nodded and then crumbled up the wrapper, shoving it into her big bag.
I'm sure.
Stood up and looked toward her seat at the back of the bus. Thanks, said as I shoved M&Ms into my mouth by the dozen. She looked back down at me.
You're welcome.
Then she leaned down a little and lowered her voice to a whisper.
Maybe go easy on him though, okay?
She nodded to the seat in front of me. Oh, come on, you're on his side? I whispered back, mouthful of chocolate. She shook her head.
No, I just don't think he's trying to be mean. I'm pretty good at reading people's intentions. I think he's just anxious.
Anxious about what? He said he's going to visit his family.
I don't know. Ask him.
Then got up and moved back to her seat. I rolled my eyes. I wouldn't be asking him shit. With any luck, he'd be boarding a different bus in Indianapolis. I wasn't quite sure where Post Falls, Idaho was, but I hoped to God it wasn't by way of Chicago. Night came slowly. The gray asphalt whizzing by outside, fading to black, and the cars alongside the bus darkening to unrecognizable colors. I could see city lights ahead of us, not warm and welcoming, but bright and sharp. Columbus. I could find something in the vending machine here, fill up my water bottle from the fountain, smoke a cigarette. Well, damn, scratch that last one. I could already feel the itch under my skin, but I ignored it. Food, water, bathroom, call Mel. These were the things I was focused on. The bus took an exit and continued down several busy downtown streets before pulling up at the Columbus bus station. The doors opened and I stood a stretch, glaring at the clock on the front of the bus. I smiled. A few minutes early. Screwed the weary traveler.
All right, folks. Everyone will have to disembark here. Please do not leave any personal items of the bus. If you're continuing on bus 881 to Indianapolis, we will be boarding at 8:25. If you're continuing on the other destination, it has been a pleasure traveling with you, and thank you for riding with us.
My first stop was the bathroom, then the water fountain, then the vending machine. I bought a pack of strawberry Pop-Tarts and a bag of nuts, then sat down to eat. By 8, I was antsy to talk to Mel. I found a payphone in the corner and spent the 25 cents to call her. The line connected immediately.
Hello?
I was disappointed when I heard Mandy's voice through the line. Hey, Mandy, it's Chris. Can I talk to Mel?
Hey, Chris. She's actually working right now. Pulling a double. She said if you call to tell her that she'll be home around 2 in the morning.
Damn it. Mandy's voice grew soft.
I know. I'm sorry. I tried to charge her nothing for rent so she could save money, but she said no. She'll pay. I have a feeling she'll be working as many doubles as she can.
Is that okay? Being on your feet so much when you're... I didn't know what Mel had told Mandy.
Pregnant? She'll be okay. Our girl is strong.
Right. Thanks, Mandy. Tell her I won't be able to call her until tomorrow morning, and tell her I'm right here. Can you?
Yeah, I'll tell her, Chris.
Thanks. Bye, Mandy. I hung up, grateful I hadn't wasted more than a quarter on a call where I couldn't even talk to my girl. I noticed there was a line at door 9 for bus 881. I wanted another window seat, so I got behind a tall, lanky guy around my age. He hadn't been on the bus from Buchanan, but there was a lot of new faces. A lot of old ones too, including Runaway, and to my immense disappointment, the weary traveler.
This is a fun concept for just getting new people in and out of the story, I think.
Yep. A bus trip.
Yeah. The amount of like random strangers that would come and how do they interact in this. It's just a fun narrative device.
Well, I was also thinking like, I had the thought when the story started, like, okay, if the story's about him on a farm in Spokane, why are we spending this time so much earlier at the beginning of the bus trip? But now I'm seeing the story is about the bus trip.
Yeah, I think that
so it's like
I think it's almost entirely about the bus trip is what I think
it is. I think the whole thing will be the bus trip, especially because he mentioned the last connection to Spokane was in Whitefall. So I think that being the title of the story and all, we have this interesting setup, almost like an Odyssey venture, where we have this kind of nebulous end goal we have to reach, not only for the sake of himself, for the sake of Mel, and for the sake of their child. But whatever threat appears along the way is going to stand in the way of that. Well, it's a very interesting concept. It's a road trip horror story.
The concept here too of like, I believe something is going to, like, what hops on the journey with him, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for that threat, and I'm it's weird because I keep making assumptions in my mind, but I'm like, nope.
Well, so far, other than the weary traveler being kind of suspicious with I have people waiting for me comment, there's been zero horror or supernatural or creepy tonations anywhere. Just
people running away from their problems or running away from, just essentially it seems like people running away from problems.
I don't know. It's a cool concept. I like the idea of a bus horror story. It's neat. I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Ridge Wallet. I've had a Ridge wallet for the past 5 years and I am never going back. This thing is leagues above a bifold or a trifold wallet that is uncomfortable and takes up a ton of space in your pocket. I've dropped this thing off I don't know how many hillsides and it's still holding up. That's because Ridge has some of the most durable and stylish wallets on the market. Plus recently, Ridge took their design and made it even better with Ridge 2.0. They're 10% lighter and more modular with an improved money clip or cash straps. The wallet holds up to 12 cards plus cash and comes in over 50 designs, including your favorite college and pro teams. Plus, Ridge has a built-for-life warranty, so even if your wallet is lost or stolen, they've got you covered. Plus, as someone who spent 8 hours the other day, I'm not joking, looking for their wallet to the point they drove to the grocery store and asked if anyone had seen it, I can tell you that the Ridge tracker card that lets you always know where your wallet is at is also a huge plus. Ridge is my go-to gift for people, and you should give a gift to yourself and get in on their offer. That's because for a limited time, our listeners can get 10% off your order at Ridge by using discount code Creepcast at checkout. That's right, 10% off. All you have to do is head to the link in the description at ridge.com and use discount code Creepcast. And once you check out, if you could let them know we sent you, it would really mean a lot. Thank you to Ridge for sponsoring the show. Their link will be in the description, and we are now back to the episode. I boarded after Lanky Guy and ended up across from him in a window seat. As I flipped my GNR tape to the other side, I noticed Lanky Guy took out a notebook and started sketching, or maybe doodling. It's hard to tell. I watched his hand move quickly and deliberately over the page. He must be one hell of an artist. There's no hesitation in his movements.
It's a landscape, a mountain range.
Huh? Been so focused watching his hands, I didn't even realize he caught me staring. His eyes shot up to mine briefly.
My girl likes mountains.
I nodded. Cool, man. You going to see your girl?
Yep.
Cool. And that was it. Lanky kept sketching and I relaxed back into my seat. Only a few hours to Indianapolis and I'd be changing buses. Hopefully I could stay out of Weary Traveler's way. I smiled, noting I'd been on the bus before him this time. He was near the back, with Runaway about halfway between us. I drifted to sleep quickly, hoping I'd stay asleep until we stopped again at midnight.
Hey.
Jerked awake at Lanky's voice. What? I said, my voice raspy.
You dropped your shit.
My bag was on the floor, shit spilling out of it. God damn it. Bent over and started shoving stuff back in.
You sleep heavy.
I know.
My girl sleeps heavy too.
He smiled a little then, looking down at his drawing, which appeared to be finished. Haven't seen her in a while, I guess, sitting back up. Didn't always like to get into conversations on transcontinental bus rides, but Lanky seemed cool.
Yeah, almost a year.
What's her name? I asked. He hesitated. I understood that. I didn't give out personal details to strangers either.
Sarah. She's an accountant. Smart. Way smarter than me. She likes me anyway, though.
That's cool. My girl's way smarter than me, too. How long you been together?
About 4 years, off and on. I think this time it's for real, though.
I really hope he's not. This isn't about the 18 or 19-year-old girl. The guy
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I hope not, too. That'd be awful. But he would have noticed her, I'd imagine, freak out or something. Also, it's funny to me that as soon as you start reading someone who's an artist doodling and sketching, you immediately do like a heavy lisp, nerdy, geeky voice.
I always pick whenever I'm like, if I'm ever drawing or something in a sketchbook, I always feel like a kind of a dork or something. So I'm always just like, yeah, I draw my book. I always like to kind of just joke around like that. But also I have
wrap
to
this character until your self-depreciation.
Yes.
Okay. So is that what you were about to say when you said I have to?
Oh no, I have only so many voices, so I'm trying to differentiate them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, man.
Thanks.
He said, closing his notebook and shoving it in his bag.
Well, there's Indianapolis.
Turned to look out my window. We were definitely heading into a big city. I could use a stretch and a cigarette. Couldn't even think about anything else. I needed nicotine. Damn. But then I remembered the dad with the smoke clouding around his baby in the car. No. Bathroom, water, bus change. There was no point in calling Mel. It was only a little after midnight. We reached the station and I bought another pack of Pop-Tarts for the morning time. I checked my ticket and saw it was boarding bus 950 at door 1 in about 10 minutes. People were lining up already, so of course I did too. Again, hoping Weary Traveler was on literally any other bus. But there he was in line, near the front. When he saw me, he shook his head in disappointment. Well, I don't like you either, buddy. Runaway and Lanky were also in my line. I was happy about these two. They were all right company. The driver checked our tickets and let us board. This time, I was near the back. Runaway was a few rows behind. Weary Traveler even farther back, and Lanky was closer to the front. I ended up without a seat partner again and smiled at my good luck. After a few minutes, the driver climbed on. She was pulling the door shut when we heard a loud bang on the glass. The woman frowned down at whoever it was and then reopened the doors. She nodded politely at the guy who climbed the stairs. He smiled and shoved his ticket at her.
You almost missed the bus. It's after departure.
The driver, a woman in her late 40s, told him before smiling back.
Glad you made it.
Yeah, I gotta make it to Chicago. I wouldn't miss my bus, baby.
He said to her, and I automatically hated his voice. It slithered over your skin like a wave of grease, clinging and sour.
All right. Well, why don't you take your seat?
She said, clearly put off at being called baby by some nutsack in his late 20s, or maybe younger, with a hard life behind him. The closer he came, the better I could see him. He was scraggly, jerky, itchy, possibly high or something. And he stank. The guy moved toward the back of the bus, studying everyone and every seat as he did. I had a sick idea of what he was looking for. Spun around to look for Runaway. She was sitting alone with a nervous look on her face as he came closer. She was getting the same vibes we all were, and she was the only single woman on the bus. It was clear as day when Scraggle noticed her. His eyes lit up and he moved a bit faster. I started to stand up, hoping to move back to the seat next to her, but he was too close. I saw movement out of the corner of my eye and glanced back. Weary Traveler has moved up to sit next to her. He saw my intention and nodded at me. He had her covered. I looked back towards Scraggle, who was now frowning. He, instead, took a seat directly behind her. Weary Traveler and I exchanged a look that may as well have been a conversation. He would stay right next to her, and I was there if he needed help. I fell back into my seat and saw Lanky eyeing the entire exchange. Scraggle wasn't very big, but he was likely volatile, unpredictable. The more people to help manage the situation, the better.
Good man.
That's a fun little paragraph. All these individuals noticing the girl needs help and stuff like that. That's nice.
Also, Weary Traveler stepping up as a good dude, too.
Yeah. Well, it's what the Runaway said. That also, I like how none of them have names. So it's Scraggle, Runaway, Traveler. But it vibes. It flows.
Very
but it's what
impersonal.
Runaway said, where it's like he's just anxious about something for some reason. The driver, Sandra, as she introduced herself as over the PA, got the bus on the road and headed out toward Chicago. I was looking forward to getting there. It would be early morning and I'd be able to call my girl, and then again in Minneapolis. Things were quiet for most of the ride as other passengers slept. The only sounds on the bus were quiet talking, light snoring, and lanky scribbling. I still kept my headphones off in case of trouble, and trouble was what we eventually got. It was early, the sunrise, when I heard Runaway shout,
Don't touch me!
I spun around just in time to see Scraggle pull his hand back between the seats.
You look so peaceful sleeping there. Beautiful, like a princess.
I heard him murmur. Weary Traveler was already turned around in the guy's face.
You don't touch women who don't give you permission to touch them. Calm down, old man.
Lanky smiled as he relaxed back in his seat.
I just brushed your hair off her face.
That's not all you touched.
Oh, you liked it, baby. I saw. You were still asleep and you purred for me.
Fuck you!
Curse was loud enough to wake most of the back of the bus. I stood up and nodded at Scraggle. Maybe you should switch seats with me. Scraggle sneered at me.
I'm good where I am.
Wasn't a request. The seats in front of my row are empty, so you should be able to keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah? But what if she doesn't want me to keep my hands to myself?
Believe me, I do.
Runaway spat. Weary Traveler stood up and nodded in my direction.
I think you should go.
No.
Scraggle laughed. Then she can move up, I said, and held out my hand to Runaway. She squeezed by Weary Traveler and dropped into the seat next to me.
Now leave that girl alone.
Can you do that voice again?
Now leave that girl alone.
Kind of like Kermit, kind of.
Suddenly, I looked to my left, and Kermit the Frog of Muppets fame is sitting in the seat next to Lanky.
You let her go. Stop touching her. Ah!
Yeah.
Just Kermit standing up for women's rights. No means no, buddy. Hey.
Kermit would, dude. He's a G. He definitely would.
I'll break your fucking fingers. Hey, look at me, pipsqueak. I'll fuck you up. You see me, motherfucker?
All right, Kermit, Jesus, just calm down, man. Just calm down.
I'll skin your asshole bra, bastard.
What? What are you talking? You skin my asshole?
You heard me, bitch. Little sick little bitch.
It's been a completely normal story. No supernatural. It's no creature. And then just Kermit the Frog rotates around in his chair.
I actually just like to think it's Jim Henson and he's under the seat with his arm up, puppeting it.
He cut a hole in the chair so that he could puppet Kermit. Yeah. A man from the back of the bus said into the silence.
Pervert.
Another woman said quietly, though we all heard it. Scrackle turned around.
Who said that? Who the fuck said that?
Let it go, man. Almost to Chicago.
Yeah, well, I ain't getting off in Chicago. Are you? How about that fine piece of woman you got there? Is she? Shut the fuck up, boy!
Weary traveler said, and Scraggle laughed. The PA suddenly boomed over us, waking the front of the bus to let us know we were in Chicago, and for those of us continuing on bus 950, the bus would reboard within the hour. Not much time. At this point, I needed a cigarette. Badly. I even thought of bumming one back off runway, but I couldn't stop thinking about the dad in the car, his baby in the back. I could be strong. For Mel. As soon as I was off the bus, I was shoving a quarter into a payphone. Mel picking up on the second ring.
Hey, baby.
Hey,
Where are you?
Chicago. I know you just got to sleep a couple hours ago. There was silence. I'm sorry, I just needed to hear your voice.
I needed to hear yours too. I miss you.
Hey Mel, so I'm almost positive this isn't how your voice sounded in our first interaction at the beginning of the story, and I feel like there's some trickery afoot that has now reduced you to whatever this comical character is for a bit that some narrator's about to pull off in a moment. I don't know how to feel about it.
I'm pregnant.
I'm gonna hang up the phone now. Bye.
I'm sleepy because the baby.
Is that how it works?
I need to hear yours too. I miss you.
You want to hear mine too? What? You now that hey Mel, so now the guy narrating your voice is now trying to go back to the story and read the lines like this is normal. So I guess I have no recourse as the other narrator of this podcast, but who cares that I have to continue the narration like this. I miss you too. How are you feeling?
Good. Tired and lonely. But I'm glad you went. We need to do this.
I leaned against the payphone. I know, but I hate it.
So do I. It's just a couple months.
Weeks, baby. It's weeks.
Please deposit 25 cents to continue this call.
It's all a gas. I think it's just a guy screaming at it.
Please deposit 25 cents to continue this call.
Yeah, it's like a red Solo cup with a string tied to it, and there's another guy who has another string tied off underneath.
Please deposit 25 cents to continue this call.
Also, the whole him laying against the payphone like, oh, I miss you so much, baby. I can't blah blah blah. He was abandoning her earlier that day.
I just want to say that it's also anytime I'm dreading the story now because every time we do these calls, I have to fucking call like we're talking to each other as if like I wasn't gonna
draw attention towards it. I wasn't gonna draw attention towards it.
That's even why I was kind of like, hey, no, I'm silly. Because at first it was like hearing you'd be like, I know, but I hate you. I was like, Jesus.
That first interaction at the bus stop where she stopped him.
I know. I didn't want to say anything.
Rough.
It was rough.
I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to derail it. But me and you talking to each other and going like, oh no, baby, I'll just.
I did not like it. I did not like it. It was too much. It was too fucking much. All I'm saying is he better stop. He better fucking stop calling her. There better be like he better get robbed or something so he can stop doing those goddamn conversations.
I need Mel to be dead so that I don't have to keep.
Yeah, Mel was struck by a truck.
Talking to you.
What? Mel was struck by a giant cement truck. Oh my God! That's all. That's how it needs to end.
That's what I need to happen now. I can't. I can only like give you bedroom eyes vocally for so long.
Yeah, that or during the conversation, we just hear the horn blasting, and then giant crashing them.
What was that game guys would play? It was like
Tummy
high
sticks?
school guys. No, not tummy sticks. We're like, you're both sitting down and it's like, I remember. Okay. They called it gay chicken. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, what is that?
It's like, it's something that guys would do. Okay. There's no way I can describe this and it's not going to sound terrible.
Isaiah, did you play? Did you play
No.
Gun Chicken? Is that why everyone kept balking at you whenever you met your friends?
Not gun chicken. Not gun
gay
chicken.
chicken. No, I said gay chicken.
Yeah. Well, it would be like if there were a group of guys together and it was like one of you touches one of the other's knee and vice versa, and then someone moves their hand up your leg or whatever, and still someone's like, I can't, this is too much, I can't, I'm out, whatever, right?
Yeah, when they played at your house, they always won, didn't they?
Well, see, that's the problem. That's the problem with explaining this story, because then people are like, well, what if no one backs out?
Yeah, because that's exactly what happened. That's why they kept calling you Chicken Little all throughout high school, didn't they? You're like, I'm not gonna. This rooster's not crowing this morning. I say I don't want to play this anymore.
No. The way I don't like don't phrase it that way with the I don't want to play this.
Yeah, I was gonna say cut that last part.
That sounds awful. My point is, I got a like PTSD flashback to that doing those lines with you a moment ago.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about, but the same feeling of like, okay, I'm tapping out.
I had this. It was mostly it was something where it's like, I really am trying to act my best. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want him getting any ideas that like I don't know that these like getting too involved where it's like, Hunter, you really were pretty pretty convincing back
Hunter,
there.
As
Baby,
my friend,
please,
I need you
come
to
on.
know. Yeah. Yeah, Hunter, as my friend, I need you to know I don't like this. I don't like doing this. Just
all I'm
put
saying
that
is
on
I
the
better
table.
not look back
I'll
at the
look it.
footage. I better not look back at the footage and you're not on your tummy and you're like kicking your feet up in the air. You're kicking your feet as if you're finding this.
Yeah,
all cute.
I've got the cord for the microphone. I'm like twirling it around my
Yeah,
finger.
exactly.
Like
La
kicking
la
my
la.
feet,
La. Yeah, fuck. Maybe I can never quit you. Yeah, exactly.
I quickly dug in my pocket looking for another quarter. Shit. Long distance on a payphone was a quarter a minute. Damn.
Chris,
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm gonna go back to sleep. Call me from Minnesota.
I sighed. Of course she was tired. I couldn't keep her on the phone just to hear her voice. Yeah, baby. I'll call in a few hours.
Okay, love you, Chris.
Love you too. Good night. I hate it so much.
I'm telling you.
We're professionals. This is our job.
I fucking hate. I just hate that I've completely lost the track that this is even voice acted. I feel like it's just people. It just I feel like I'm just talking to you on the other end. Okay, love you, Isaiah.
I love you too, baby. Good night.
Yeah, where the fuck is like where the fuck are like the killer robots or like the weird sheriff?
Yeah, what happened to the shiny gentleman?
come
Where's
on,
the
where the
ghost
what
and
fuck's
the
happening here?
werewolves? I thought this was a story about vampires or something. Like, what's going on with all this?
Yeah, this is all. The true horror is just literally Isaiah confessing his insistent need to play the game Gay Chicken with his friends.
This is the scariest story I've ever read because it's just me dirty talking
I was gonna say-
my friend
was
for
gonna
like
say-
an hour.
This is the scariest story just because I have to be intimate. I have to be intimate in conversation with my friend Isaiah. That makes this the most horrifying story of all.
Yeah, well, CK
I hate
Walker
that
has
you
done it again.
also, I'm so tired of hearing you say baby. It's fucking driving me insane.
It's there's not a
All
good
right,
way
baby.
to say it, dude. There's not a good way to say it.
You've
Like,
you've done it a couple different ways. You'd be like, baby. You're like, baby? you've said it like a couple different ways. And each time I'm like, ugh.
yeah, I feel like there's not a good way to be like, oh, babe. You can't say, oh, baby, in a way that's like sounds like the character saying it, but also isn't awful. It's a rough play.
Oh, baby.
That'd make it worse. Worse.
Baby.
All right. Now you're getting a little too into it now.
Fuck it. I'm going all in. Fuck it. I'm going 110%.
I can't.
I'm doing it.
Do that. I hung up the headset and ran my hands through my hair. Shit. Walking over to the vending machine, I paid for a water and another pack of Pop-Tarts. If I had to eat nothing but Pop-Tarts all the way to Washington, I would. Nothing would stop me from calling Mel every day for as many minutes as she would talk to me.
Passengers traveling on bus 950 to Indianapolis, please line up at Bay 16.
I walked over to door 16 and was for once happy to see Weary Traveler in line. But unfortunately, so was Runaway, and Scraggle, a few people behind her. Hey, Runaway, I called. She looked around for a minute until she found me. Why don't you come back here with me? Runaway saw where I was looking and eyed Scraggle as she passed him. He made a rude gesture with his tongue and she looked away.
That guy's disgusting.
She said when she neared me. I know. I thought we'd let him pick his seat first. Runaway nodded and then...
Thank you.
Stepped a little closer, but didn't touch her. You're welcome. I know he's saying he didn't touch her in the sense of like she needs space. She's obviously with two. Like it
did
makes
feel,
sense. But it's a
it just creeped me out.
It's a weird
Okay. I'm glad you felt the same because I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, yeah.
It should be, I'm like, I never assumed you did. I stepped closer, but I did not lay a finger
It's
on her.
like
Not one.
Hey, buddy, none of us were thinking that you were going to do
I was like,
that.
all right, damn,
But
dude.
Thanks for clarifying, I guess.
I go almost instinctively want to like put my hands up, like, all right, dude, damn.
It's okay, all right. Because and again, I get it because it's like, she's being touched by weird people, has a history. So he's acknowledging her space, but the way it's worded is, I stepped a little closer. I didn't touch her. I said, you're welcome. Since we were at the back, there was only single seats left. Runaway, I was happy to see, sat next to Lanky. I ended up next to a woman who hadn't been on our bus before and looked like she'd been traveling for months. She gave me a weary nod and then looked out the window. Closed my eyes for the first time in hours.
What is Lanky even drawing?
He's drawing hills and like meadows,
like
and
mountains,
and
right?
Stuff, right?
Okay,
like landscapes. It sounds like, yeah.
all right. I didn't know if he was just drawing like mechs or something. He's like, I like Gundam. You like Gundam?
That'd be awesome. This is a guy. Just got Kermit the Frog in one seat, and then the other guy over there is like, I love Evangelion.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. Kermit's like, I really like End of Evangelion. Lanky's like, shut the fuck up. The rebuilds are a total mess. You know it.
Kermit is on this bus to me, by the way. Like when I think of an overview of it, he's like 2 rows back, left side, behind the driver. Like,
which also, to be fair, End of Evangelion is the official ending to me. So I just want to put that out there.
So this is crazy, but I still have never watched Evangelion.
I'm surprised because I feel like you'd be right up your alley. Shinji is literally you, by the way.
I hate that because I do that voice, and you tell me that's Shinji.
Yeah, no, it's just like that.
Okay, that's not a good thing to say about me, but I like Attack on Titan's like one of my favorite things ever. So
I never finished it. I never finished. I heard people really like it. I just remember hearing like,
how far did you get?
I can't remember. I couldn't tell you. All I know is the people kind of told me what happened towards the end, and I was like, this sounds kind of silly. It was a little silly.
No.
But I'm also a pessimistic man, so
I'll say it this way. Attack on Titan, watching the full series is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like of a movie, of a TV show, of anything like that. I would easily put it in the top, probably 3 shows I've ever seen.
Were you happy when you found out like inside the castle walls, there's like the giant people?
Mm-hmm. That's the end of season 1. Yeah.
That's the end of season 1. Okay.
Yep. There's 4 seasons, and then season 4 is the length of all 3 other seasons combined. And between season 3 and 4, the show completely changes what it is so dramatically, but it had subtly set it up so well. It's one of the most impressive writing decisions I've ever seen done in a story. That the show was so much one thing and became something else in a way that was set up, but I never would have realized until I got to the end. And by the end, I was like, wow, that completely took me for a loop. If you want to watch anything, I would recommend giving Attack on Titan another shot.
Okay. I'm watching Doctor Who right now, but I'll watch it here pretty soon.
I watched, I know we're just talking now, not even reading the story, but I watched, I was really into Doctor Who when I was younger.
I was joking.
And I watched all of 9, 10, and 11, and I quit a little bit into 12.
I am not watching Doctor Who. It was a lie.
Okay. All right. Well, so you got me with that one. I thought maybe it was for a video or something like that. So there's like a realm of
no. If I have to see that fucking clip of like the Van Gogh episode again, I'm going to actually put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger.
Oh, where he goes to the artwork and there's the flowers that he painted for Amy. And
He's like, see, people love your art. And he's like, this is crazy. He's like crying. It's really, I don't know. I've seen that clip so many times now when people are like, show name now. And I'm like, I feel like everyone should know that it's just that Doctor Who. It doesn't matter. We should just keep going.
You want to know maybe, gosh, I don't even know if I should share this online.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you this because it came up and this is funny.
Careful.
But I need you, Hunter, to not think less of me for this.
That's going to be hard. Go ahead.
So when I was, I want to say 11, maybe 12. No, it was my freshman year of high school, wasn't it? Dang, that's rough. I had to be 13. Okay. I was so into Doctor Who. And that episode specifically, the Van Gogh one, I loved so much that I wrote a fan fiction about Vincent Van Gogh's suicide within the context of him meeting Doctor Who.
Wow. You know, you did a lot of interesting things, little boy. Are you saying this is a gay fan fiction about Van Gogh and Doctor Who? Is that what you're saying?
No. There's no romance involved. By fanfic, I mean it was like it was a description of like Van Gogh's suicide, but his inner monologue.
Why did you do this?
Because I liked that episode so much.
So that you wanted to write a fan fiction about a guy killing himself?
It was no, because Van Gogh really did kill himself. So it was like it was a historical suicide with the context of like him thinking about what the doctor showed him and all that. It's insane. It is absolutely horrific. And I completely memory hold that until you brought that episode back up.
Well, that's I feel like there's other parts of that still have not been revealed. I still feel like there's some kind of there was no
homoeroticism, there was no romance, there was no stuff like that.
We cannot prove or deny that technically. So in the air, it's tentative is how I'm rating it.
Okay. But you just, gosh, I needed to, this was like a Catholic confession for me because I remembered it all once and I had to tell someone.
It felt like I was in like the little, the prayer box or whatever the fuck that's called.
The confession booth.
Yeah. I was in the confessional.
Booth, yeah.
I'm like on the other side of the screen, just like looking at you. You're trying to make eye contact with me through the screen, telling me about this. And I'm like desperately I'm just like trying not to make eye contact with you, just side eyeing you.
So yeah, that's a thing that happened. Gosh,
you've been revealing a lot about your childhood. This is usually I'm the one who has to talk about my weird.
That's what I just said is one of the worst things I've ever done. It's gotta be.
It's one of the worst things I've ever done. It took a piece of my humanity.
That just gives so much context to like so many underlying issues I had to have had and problems and being sheltered. And
I just love the idea of you watching that episode of Doctor Who and like holding the TV remote, turning off your TV and just being like, wow, that was incredible. I know what I must do.
I've nothing to say to make it better. That's just a thing that happened.
You know what? I think it's a perfectly innocent thing you did. That's not bad. I think it's funny, but it's
as soon as we're done recording, I'm gonna get a text from her that's like, I can't keep doing this show. All right. I have to, before this episode goes live, I have to try to track that down and make sure that's not posted anywhere.
I wish you all the luck in the world.
I hope not. Okay, anyway. It was somewhere near Madison that the trouble started. Woke up to yelling and looked back to see Lanky taking a punch. Weary traveler trying to hold back Scraggle in the aisle. Runaway practically standing in her seat trying to get the bus driver's attention.
You ready to trade the seats now, pussy?
Scraggle punched Lanky in the stomach again. Weary traveler not able to do much to hold him back.
Fuck off!
Lanky hit back, but it didn't slow down Scraggle. where he tried to wrestle him down in the aisle.
Sit back in your goddamn seat.
Scraggle knocked him off easily, then turned around and kicked Weary, a man clearly on the other side of 60. The entire bus erupted in outrage, but no one seemed to want to intervene. Lanky tried to push him away from Runaway again, but Scraggle took him down with one punch to the face.
Yeah, anybody else want some?
Scraggle sat down in Lanky's seat and stroked Runaway's leg as she tried to kick him off.
Come on, baby. You can sit right in my lap.
I was over my seat and down the aisle before he could yank her down on him. I grabbed Scraggle by his shirt and hauled him up. Weary was old. Lanky wasn't accustomed to taking a punch, but I did manual labor for a living and got into a lot of bar fights. Even high as a kite and freakishly strong, Scraggle had nothing on me. I dragged him down the aisle as he yipped and cursed. A few passengers got in a kick or two as he was pulled between them.
Where the fuck are you taking me?
You're getting off the bus.
The fuck I am. They attacked me first. I was just trying to talk friendly to that girl.
Yeah, looked real friendly. Sandra, who must have caught some of the commotion, was already pulling the bus over.
Get off me, ma'am! Ma'am! This man is assaulting me and I would like the police called.
Scraggle choked as I dragged him down the stairs of the bus. Sandra scoffed.
Look more like you were harassing that poor girl and kicking an old man. I don't tolerate that sort of behavior on my bus. You're getting off here.
She opened the doors and I pushed him out. Landed on his feet and spun around quickly.
You can't fucking do this! I paid! I'm calling corporate! Bus 950! And you can't just leave me here! You have my bag!
Backpack came flying out the door behind me and landed in a dirty puddle further down the embankment.
There's your fucking bag.
Runaway said, then turned and walked back to her seat. Safe travels! I smiled at him as the bus driver pulled the doors closed in front of me. I watched Scraggle try to chase the bus and we pulled away. Other passengers slipped him off or insulted him out the window. Some gave me high fives or nodded approvingly at me. I will say, that moment felt a little too everyone stood up and clapped, you know?
It's a little Marvel-esque, but I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. Runaway was helping Weary back to his seat and Lanky was already next to him. I pulled out some Kleenex that Mel had put in my backpack ages ago, so I offered it to them. Hey, you got you good, Lanky. Lanky laughed.
My name's Dylan.
Dylan, I'm Chris.
Mack.
Weary interjected from next to Lanky.
I'm Mack. Nice to meet you, Chris. Thanks for stepping in. Yeah, I was getting my ass beat.
Dylan laughed.
Oh, you were not. The dude was just super methed out.
Runaway chimed in.
And thank you, all of you. I'm Gracie.
Well, that was eventful. Hopefully some of you are getting off in Mini for good.
Nope. I'm going through to Idaho.
Weary, now Mack, said.
Yes, but Wyoming.
Dylan. Gracie hesitated.
Billings, Montana. I don't know anybody there, but I don't know. I heard it's a nice place.
I nodded. Spokane for me. Looks like we're all in for the long haul.
Here, sit.
Mack nodded at me. Why?
You need to clean that.
Clean what?
He bit you in the arm.
I looked down at my arm. Damn, he had. Broke skin, too. Leaned my head back and closed my eyes. Shit.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah, he looked real clean. Dylan laughed and then poured hydrogen peroxide on my arm that he'd gotten from God knows where. I must have fallen asleep again because the next thing I knew, Mack was gently nudging me.
Hey, you want some jerky?
I blinked and sat up. What?
Jerky. You look like you haven't eaten in days.
He hasn't.
I heard Gracie from across the aisle. I sat up and rubbed my eyes, then took the strip of dried meat from Mack. Where are we?
The border.
Which border?
We're almost in North Dakota.
I shot up. What happened to Minneapolis?
You slept through it. Soundly. Said you were going through to Washington. Didn't seem any reason to wake you.
No reason. I was supposed to call my girl.
Well, you can call her from Whitefall. That's a terminal. A lot of people are changing buses there. Mack and me are.
Well, how far is Whitefall? I asked, exasperated. Dylan's arm came over the back of my seat and hugged the headrest.
Couple hours. But you really didn't miss anything. Payphone bank was crazy in Minneapolis. I was supposed to call my girl Sarah. That wasn't time. Call in Whitefall.
God. I knocked my head back against the seat rest. Damn it. I didn't know what time Mel worked today. I was supposed to call her from Minnesota. What if she was worried about me? Couldn't get to Whitefall soon enough. Mack shared his entire bag of jerky with me, silently, and I was grateful. Maybe it wasn't so bad after all. Just had someplace to be. Someplace important, I guess. The snow started just after we hit the border. First gentle flakes, then a flurry, finally a full-on whiteout. I had no idea how the driver could even see through it. And even though Whitefall was only supposed to be about 2 hours or so from the border, it felt more like 5. It even seemed like the sun was setting by the time the PA came on. It wasn't until then I realized we had switched bus drivers and many.
Folks, this is Richie, your driver. We're pulling into Whitefall Station now. Looks like we've got a few other buses parked, which is great for you folks making transfers. Everything should move on schedule provided the weather cooperates, which, as you can see, is pretty nasty out there. This is going to be a 20-minute stop. Ordinarily, I'd give mention to some of the fast food restaurants in town if you want something hot to eat, but I don't recommend leaving the bus station in Whitefall. It's a real blizzard out there.
He was right. It was hard to see anything at all, in fact. Slowly, the clean walls of the red brick bus station materialized out of the building white. It was a sizable terminal, though not quite as big as Indianapolis. The bus pulled to a stop and the doors opened.
Please take everything with you off the bus. Everyone must get off, even if you are continuing on with us to Rapid City. We're going to reboard at 5:40. The current time is 5:20.
5:20. This was supposed to be an unhurried 3-hour stop for me, but it seems I would only have 10 minutes to find and board bus 414. Was the weather that bad? Had we been going that slow? I stood up quickly, hoping to be the first people off. Nice meeting you all. Good luck. Mack, we only got 10 minutes before our bus leaves.
I saw.
The bus station was madness. There had to be 70 people inside, including us, and it wasn't as big on the inside as it had looked from the outside. Everyone was shouting. People were snapping at each other. Baby screamed bloody murder on the other side of the room. It was absolute chaos.
What the hell?
Heard Mack beside me. Whatever, let's just figure out what door we need to be at. The ticket window was empty of a station employee, so I went to the board near the front of the room. I found bus 414, but across from it, where the door number should be, there was nothing. It was blank. In fact, they were all blank. What the hell is going on? The guy who answered my question was standing underneath the board, leaning up against the wall. He had on a Chiefs t-shirt and looked like he just pulled up in his daddy's Lexus.
Buses are canceled, all of them. Board has been like this since the first one rolled up this morning from Kansas City. Fuck that, I have a connection to make. I gotta make it to Post Falls.
Mack was red-faced and heaving. He was pissed. The stranger laughed, but there's no humor in it.
Start walking then. You little shit.
Mack yelled and tried to take a step toward the other guy. Put an arm across his chest. Relax, Mack. He's just some guy having a bad day, like the rest of us.
Yeah, we've all got places to be, Mac, so play nice.
The douchebag taunted. We walked away, and Mack shook my arm off.
Play nice. Fuck that guy. Are all the buses really canceled? I gotta get on the 414 to Post Falls.
Someone's meeting me at 9 p.m. I told her 9 p.m. I can't be late, I promised.
Gracie appeared.
Shit. 312 to Billings is canceled too.
Also, just want to say, Mac, like I said, there's a correlation between him needing to get there. Like, it's now we're finding out that it's also like a woman that he's meeting. So there's just that connection's kind of interesting, but
There's more information coming out. Yeah. Back of the board inside. Doesn't look like any of us are going anywhere. Should we find someone to talk to? Gracie snorted.
I tried. There's not a station employee or driver to be found. I even tried knocking on the employee's only door and no one answered. Shit.
Dylan had suddenly appeared behind us as well.
I gotta call Sarah.
Yeah, I gotta use the phone too. Mack?
No, I don't. I don't have her phone number, just an address. And a letter won't make it in time.
Shit.
Yeah.
Patted Mack on the shoulder, then followed Dylan to the payphones. There were 2 and only one was free.
You go ahead.
Thanks, man. Phone rang so long I didn't think Mel was going to answer. When she did, the connection was pretty bad.
Damn it.
I could hear.
God damn it. I'm like, fuck. God damn it, bitch. Let that shit go to voicemail. Holy shit, please.
Don't make us do this. Don't
God.
send us back. Well, he said the connection's bad, so they'll probably just be like, oh, you're breaking up or something, right? It's better. So I could hear about 70% of everything she said, but that was it. I apologized for Indianapolis, and she understood. I told her it looked like there'd be a delay getting to Spokane and that I was stuck in a blizzard in North Dakota.
That sounds terrible. How bad is it?
Remember New York 4 years ago?
Oh my god.
But worse. She said something that I didn't catch. I asked her to repeat it.
Doctor, an appointment, maybe Monday?
You have an appointment on Monday?
Chris?
Mel? Phone disconnected. I stared at it a few seconds before pulling another quarter out of my pocket.
Don't bother. You'll get the same shitty connection.
Warned a tall, blonde woman next to me. Kept digging. I'll at least want to try.
Save your money, son.
An older man said from beside her.
She's right. The storm is interfering. Might as well wait until it calms down, son.
Took a look outside, but all I could see was white. You think it'll calm down?
It better. I have to get to Chicago.
Right. Just came from there. The man next to her nodded.
Minneapolis bus. Saw you come in.
Stuck out his hand.
Name's John Pollock. This is my daughter Emily.
I shook it. Chris Dykes held my hand out to Emily, and she took it as well in a pretty crushing grip.
Better settle in for the night, Stykes. Nobody's getting out of here until morning.
Yeah? Who said that?
Come over to the PA while you're on the phone.
I exchanged a look with Dylan. Not good. Especially not good for Mack. Nice meeting you, I said curtly before Dylan and I headed towards the last place we'd seen the weary old traveler. Found him sitting down in a chair near the door when he had come in from. Gracie was next to him, smoking a cigarette. God, I could use one of those right now. How you doing, Mack?
You talk to your girl?
Bad connection. Looked over at Dylan.
And you? You get a hold of your girl?
Dylan shook his head.
Didn't seem much of a point.
Mack nodded.
So we're all fucked.
I sat down across from him, noticing for the first time most of the people on our bus were seated in this area too. What do we do now? Just wait? Gracie nodded.
Yep. We're stuck here until morning.
Anybody want anything from the fast food place?
Yes, thank you. Excellent. Perfect. Oh, a man I recognized from our bus asked.
I'm gonna chance the storm. See if I can find a McDonald's nearby or something.
Awesome. This is perfect. Dude, I'll tell you what. You are a trooper right now. There's like 9 characters.
I keep fucking up the voices. I'm trying so hard.
Bro, this is rough. I'm glad I took the protagonist because, oh my gosh, man. I do not envy you right now. A few people raised their hands and handed him money. God knew it was tempting, but I needed to save as much as possible for the payphones. I opted for a Snickers bar from the vending machine instead. I watched him walk to the front door of the
Yeah, flapping his arms. Ah! Runs outside.
Kermit, like there's puppet strings above him. He's just swinging his legs back and forward.
Jim Henson on a rolly chair. He's like he's like on one of those mechanic chairs in a like a garage.
Yeah, floor dolly. Yeah. I watched him walk to the front door of the station. He struggled with the wind. Okay, I got like it. He struggled with the wind and the door, and in the end, all he left behind was a dusting of snow that escaped into the building when he left. I never knew his name. We never saw him again. Whoa.
I wonder if this is becoming. I wonder if this is like becoming.
The
like
Mist?
Almost seems like a purgatory kind of story or something. You know, like
everyone's got somewhere to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but then now they've gotten there. Now there's no connection. It's like there's no. Basically, you can't even make it to the real world, or I don't know. It just seems kind of odd, very like ghostly almost.
Yeah, that too. I almost get Mist vibes too. Of like, we're all stuck inside of this structure, can't go out past the veil, you know? Yeah. We all did our best to get comfortable in our chairs. The baby, wherever it was, stopped screaming around 9. Gracie, who was stretched out on the floor, dropped off first, settled between me and a chair on her right and Dylan and Mack in chairs on her other side. The station quieted down, and by 1 a.m., there were only whispers and wind to keep me company. I tried calling Mel again around 1:30, and I think I got Mandy, but the distortion was so bad it was impossible to tell. I finally fell asleep around 3 a.m. and didn't wake again until 8. People were up and moving around by then. The sun might have been out, but there was no way to tell. An impossible amount of snow seemed to have fallen overnight, and the windows were almost completely covered by the drifts. There had to be 7 feet of it out there. It was ludicrous.
Hey, you.
I rubbed my eyes and then looked over at a vaguely familiar man. Me?
Yeah, you. What's your name?
Dykes.
Okay, Stikes. Well, that guy took my money last night for a burger and he never came back.
Okay.
Probably took all our cash and got a hotel for the night.
Okay.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
What do you mean? I didn't give him any money.
Yeah, but you're the guy who sorts problems, like the meth head on the bus. I got a problem, so help me sort it.
Look, man, I don't know where you got that idea, but I can't do anything about your money. If he went to a hotel, he'll be back this morning to board his bus. Take it up with him then. I left the guy and headed to the bathroom. The line for the women's wrapped around the wall, and that morning I couldn't have been happier to be a dude. Bathroom was blessedly silent, and I reveled in that too. I could feel an undercurrent of anxiety and distress everywhere. Watched the terminal from wall to wall. Here, I was happy to be removed from it, and alone.
Good morning, folks.
Cracked the PA above me.
This is the station master speaking on behalf of your drivers and the Grey Lure Company. I'm sure you're all very eager to board your buses and get on the road to your destinations. We sympathize wholeheartedly with our passengers, so we are disappointed to have to inform you that the storm is not predicted to let up until this evening.
I could hear groans and curses and even yelling from the other side of the door.
Our vending machines are fully stocked with food and drinks, so we ask that you do not attempt to step outside as winds are in 65-mile-an-hour range and visibility is 0. For your safety, please do not attempt to leave the station.
Fuck you!
I heard someone yell through the door. This was bad, real bad. There were a couple of vending machines on each wall, but hardly enough to feed 70 people for an entire extra day. The one I had used last night was already almost empty. I dried my hands and walked out the door, heading back to our group section. As soon as I sat down, Gracie offered me a cigarette.
I know you're stressed.
I am.
Are you sure you don't want one?
I eyed the pack hungrily. Then I thought of the man in the car.
Hell, I'll have one.
Matt grumbled. The rest of the day passed slowly. We talked about TV, movies, video games, places we visited, but nothing personal. I had Pop-Tarts and goldfish from the vending machine, tried to call Mel again and exchanged maybe 8 words I could understand with her. By nightfall, things were dire. We had been waiting all day to hear about the storm in our buses, but no one showed up at the ticket windows and no one addressed us over the loudspeaker. Around 6, I watched the stranger in the Chiefs t-shirt bang on the employee door with a couple other guys. They tried pounding on it. They tried shouting. Hell, they even tried kicking the door in, but nothing broke. It had now been over 24 hours that we had all been stranded here. The baby screamed from somewhere. A man fought with another over the last moon pie in the vending machine. Frustrated people tried the phones.
What do you think, Grizz?
Dylan fell down into a chair next to me. I think this place is a breaking point and we're going to hit it tomorrow night.
You give them that long?
If we don't hear something over the PA before then, yeah.
What do you think they're doing back there?
I shrugged. Drinking coffee, sleeping on the couches, laughing at us. Mack looked out the window.
The storm doesn't look that bad.
I had to disagree. Sleep came easier that night due to my sheer exhaustion. I slept from 10 at night to 8 in the morning and was only woken by shouting. A man was trying to leave the station, and 2 people I recognized, father and daughter I'd met 2 days before, were trying to stop him.
I have to get out of here. I have money. I'll find the cops or the Red Cross or something. I'll send help. Andy, no.
Emily Pollock yelled.
You'll die out there. I can't stay in here anymore. I can't. Andy, stop.
Emily yanked back on his arm as he tried for the door again.
We need you. More importantly, son, it's not safe out there.
Father chimed in.
Oh, let him go.
The stranger with the Chiefs t-shirt laughed.
He's an adult. He can decide what he wants. Stay out of this. This has nothing to do with your people. My people? We've been on a bus with him since Arizona. We're concerned for him. Focus on your Kansas City people. I've been on a bus with all these people.
Chiefs t-shirt gestured at a large group in the corner.
But if any of them wanted to leave of their own free will, I would let them.
Emily Pollock laughed.
That's because you don't fucking care. Now piss off, you pretty mama's boy. My name is Acker, but thanks for the compliment, bitch. Hey, there's no need for that. Well, looks like you're a daddy girls too, you stupid bitch. I do like to think that the Kansas City Chiefs guy is just like a super sassy gay man. I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, dude, if you close your eyes right now, it sounds like you're having a mental breakdown.
I know. I feel kind of schizophrenic.
Just yelling at
Yeah, well,
yourself in several voices.
Hey, there's no need for that. Well, looks like your little daddy's girl too.
Go deal with your own group, Acker.
She snapped at the man she'd been holding the hostage, took that moment to jerk away from her, throw open the door, and bolt through it. I was on my feet in seconds. What the hell? How did he get through the drifts? Dylan was behind me as we ran over there. It was impossible. Snow was higher than the windows. He should have ran into a wall of snow. I threw the door open and found myself looking at a long, narrow hallway of snow. So high on both sides, I could hardly see the top. The passage went on so long, I thought I'd lost it until I spotted the dark figure of a man hurrying away. What?
Don't like that.
Huh? Like a maze? Like a giant, like, chute? Like a giant hedge maze thing? But
Yeah, but made of snow. Yeah. It's very weird, very surreal sight.
Whoa, what the heck? Okay. I was pulled back and the door slammed in my face. Emily Pollock was there glaring at me.
You fucking idiot. It's bad enough he went out there.
Who carved that path?
Who cares? It goes nowhere. We sent a girl out last night to see if she could find help, but she never came back.
You sent someone out there? I asked, horrified. I addressed this question more to John, as he seemed the more rational of the two.
I did not agree to that, but the girl and my daughter did. She went out on her own volition.
That's insane! You sent some poor girl out there?
I collared from my left.
She won't make it 100 yards in this. She knew the risks.
Younger Pollock snapped.
But it went nowhere. And now we've lost someone we actually needed.
What do you mean needed? Emily clenched her jaw and stared at me. Father just shook his head. Neither volunteered an answer.
He was a nurse. She needed him.
Acker shrugged from the periphery of the argument. Needed him for what? Someone sick? Emily laughed.
Everyone is sick, or will be soon. This is our third day here without no contact with the outside world. The vending machines are practically empty. The women's bathroom has overflowed. People who are supposed to get us out of here refuse to open the door or even speak to us. They don't care what happens out here. People haven't slept. The phones aren't working. And if we don't find a way to leave or get help, we'll all starve.
I looked around the station. My bus had come in late evening 2 days before. As I studied the room, I noticed that people seemed to have huddled into 4 groups, one of them being ours, the passengers from the Minneapolis bus. There has to be another nurse or doctor here.
Yeah, well, why don't you ask around the Minneapolis group? Because we had no medical professionals on the Kansas City side. So if you have one, send them over.
I'll ask around.
You should do that.
Acker smiled, and I had a feeling I was missing something. Mack pulled me back to our row of seats and sat me down.
You ever read Lord of the Flies, son?
No.
What's going on?
Gracie asked, flinging some book she was reading onto the seat next to her.
Look around. Do you see how the station is divided?
Yeah. By random groups.
Not random. By buzz.
Mack nodded and seemed relieved, as if the burden of knowledge was off of him.
Over there. The guy with the Chiefs t-shirt. That group was on the bus that came from Kansas City. And over there, that dad and daughter we met the first night, that whole group is from Denver. And what about that group?
Gracie asked, pointing to the largest group, all of whom sat against a wall on the far side of the terminal.
Salt Lake City. I was talking to a woman from the group earlier. Went over to ask if anybody had a stamp. She was polite, but basically told me to fuck off.
Right. Why does any of this matter? Max slid his eyes to me.
It means that the situation is developing into every man for himself. More accurately, every camp for themselves. I think we can assume the loudest ones are the self-appointed leaders.
Dylan rolled his eyes.
Right. The guy in the chief shirt, Acker, seems to speak for the Kansas City group. The loud woman and her dad seem to run Denver. And I'm going to guess the woman who stood up when I approached the wall is speaking for Salt Lake City. That leaves us. Right. And that's obviously Chris.
Me? Why? Dylan shrugged.
After the meth heads incident, it just seems natural.
Max seemed to agree and simply nodded at me. Great. Okay, that's the end of another little section. So I love the just random maze showing up outside, right?
Yeah, I can't tell if the story is going like surrealist, prison, like weird mist vibe, or if it's like there's a whiteout blizzard and this is just going to go into straight Lord of the Flies, like basically like absolute chaos, which is still kind of like the Mist too, to be fair.
Yeah, but I'm afraid it will do a Baraska where it's like they all kill each other. And then at the end, it's like, this was an experiment conducted by, the government to blah, 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 something like that, right? Yeah. But I think it's way cooler if there's a supernatural storm they find themselves in. Not monsters or anything, but it's just like there's this kind of weird liminal almost maze that develops outside. They have to choose to try to transverse or not, like a time gap. But I really don't like the segment where it's like, have you ever read Lord of the Flies? Well, we've elected, we've democratically appointed leaders of our camps. It's like, what?
It's quick.
Like if that happens naturally, that's one thing. But to explain it as, have you ever read Lord of the Flies is I don't like that.
It's on the nose for sure.
Yeah. It's similar to me as the whole like, hey buddy, back off from the bus with the scraggly guy.
There's a little bit of, I get it. It's campy is probably the wrong word, but I mean, it definitely has a few of those moments, but I'm remaining optimistic. I'm having a good time.
You know what
still.
It is? It's millennial.
Millennial, he says.
It's millennial. Yeah.
Are you Gen Z? What are you?
I'm Gen Z.
Gen Z.
I'm 99, so it's like on the line. Later that night, I woke several people up cursing at the phone. I still called. Mel or Mandy still answered, but I could never make out a word they said. But I still called. Because she had to know I was always here, and I was trying. I slammed the phone back onto the cradle after it disconnected for the third time and reached into my pocket for more quarters. Since all I had left were bills, I decided to break one in a vending machine. I should probably eat anyway. It had been an entire day since I'd had anything. And one of my favorite, the ones with the strawberry Pop-Tarts. The vending machine was against Salt Lake City's wall. A woman sitting on the floor next to the machine narrowed her eyes at me as I approached. What?
What are you getting?
Pop-Tarts?
How many?
Just a package. Why? The tone of my voice was no longer pleasant.
Because I need to know.
Lady, I'll be damned if I'm going to explain why I'm buying a Pop-Tart. She laughed then. It seemed to surprise her as well, and was a pleasant sound. She stood up and stuck out her hand.
I'm Amanda Hewen. You're in Indianapolis, right?
Chris Dykes, said warily.
All right, Stikes. You in charge over there?
No one's in charge. I'll just wait for our buses. She didn't say anything for a moment, just eyed me instead.
Let me give you a word of advice. No one here is your friend.
What?
I know.
Did you stumble? What do you mean no one here's your friends? I mean, okay, this kind of thing happens in airports. I don't know about bus stops
if we're already in tribe mentality like this, I just want to say it has happened so fast. So fast. If I'm down to go the Lord of the Flies route, but I will say that it's obnoxiously fast to the point where someone's like, I need to know for resource. We're gathering resources. And then just being like, no one here's your friend, especially not you.
I mean, during COVID, weren't people like stuck in airports for like weeks?
That I mean, maybe,
I guess they had food brought to them, but what? What do you mean no one here's your? Okay, I got that.
Not even me.
No shit. I just met you. She stared at me for a moment longer, then shrugged and sat back down.
Enjoy your Pop-Tart, Stikes.
All right, Hewen. I ate my Pop-Tart in silence and watched the room settle down for the night. People were more restless. Baby cried louder for longer. I could hear crying. The whole situation was disintegrating. Maybe that's what Mack and Amanda Hewen and even Emily had all been trying to tell me. Things were dire. Circle your wagons.
Real quick.
Seemed like what?
Is there just an obnoxious amount of like fucks in this story?
Yes.
Okay. But it didn't have that Baraska, did it really?
I feel like part 5 did.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Oh gosh. Yes, it did. Remember me. We also called that out in part 5.
In part 5. Yeah. But I guess I guess when I referred to a Baraska, I was just thinking of like 1 through 4.
The original. Yeah.
Yeah.
In part 5, it happened so often that I started to say like, make fun of it and jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. It seemed like an overreaction, and I went to sleep thinking so, till I was woken at 4 a.m. by glass breaking. I was out of my seat instantly. Mack 2. Some guy had just been bashed into a long glass shadow box on the wall, and Acker and some other dude were screaming at him.
Did you think we wouldn't see you? That we wouldn't have someone awake?
The other guy yelled in the dude's face.
You trying to steal from us? No, man, it's just a vending machine.
The now bloodied guy stuttered as Acker held him in a chokehold.
It's our vending machine. Use the one in your area. Ours only has soda in it. So drink a fucking soda.
Acker laughed and punched the guy in the face again right before I got there. I yanked Acker back and the guy dropped to the floor. All of Acker's group were suddenly out of their seats and surrounding us. The situation was getting out of hand. I felt Mack behind me, and then Gracie and Dylan broke through the herd on my left. I flung Acker against the wall. What the hell's wrong with you? That guy was just trying to eat.
Yeah.
Acker straightened and pulled his cuffs down like nothing at all had just occurred.
He can get food from Denver area.
You heard him. There's no food there. It's just a vending machine, man.
Really? Well, then let him get food out of one by your group.
He can. No one would stop him.
What about 2 days from now? Or 3? Or a week?
What about when there's barely any food left? Then would you let him?
Of course.
Then your group is totally fucked. Might as well let that 5-year-old lead it.
He laughed and pointed at a kid and his mom who'd gone on with us in Columbus. You're insane. It won't come to 3 days or a week. They can't leave us here that long.
It's been 4 fucking days, Dykes.
No one has come. No one over the PA. Take a look outside.
The buses are gone. We're alone. We've been abandoned. Get that through your fucking head or don't.
Hell, makes things easier for Kansas City.
You hear that, everyone? When you're hungry, make sure you go to Minneapolis' vending machine. It's a free-for-all over there.
His group laughed and then seemed to melt back into their territory. Mack grabbed my arm and led me away. Again, I could hear Emily screaming at the bloodied guy in the hallway. She seemed pissed he'd gotten into it with Kansas City. I also caught Amanda's eye walking back to our area. I could read what she was telling me in her eyes. Now you know the way things are. Be smart. What the? 3 days. They're like beating each other to death.
Some tribe mentality has happened after 72 hours is crazy. You see that? The buses are gone.
No. What the heck is going on? Pop-Tarts are gone, man. I'll be outside.
Yeah, when the Pop-Tarts and Doritos Cool Ranch flavor is gone, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath in here. And Kansas City's not going to be friends with anybody. You hear me?
The next day seemed different. My eyes were open to the actual dynamics of the situation. All the things that had been going on in the background while I ate my Pop-Tarts and pined away for Melody. Again, there's no PA announcement that day, and again, people try to break down or disassemble the employees only door. The employees area we could get to had already been raided. There was nothing useful. That morning, I asked Dylan to take everything out of our vending machines and stockpile it in the corner. When he said he didn't have enough money, I told him to break the glass, which he did. Within an hour, the other groups followed suit, breaking into their vending machines as well. So hold on. They're going to start beating each other to like unconsciousness, but they didn't break they were still paying with quarters.
Yeah, they were all, they had the right mind to at least still pay with the quarters. Yeah.
There's like a shaman at the front, like sitting in front of where the PA desk is with like a book he wrote. And he was like, the great text says we must abide by the rule of the quarter. I tried like hell to get to the quarters, but they were in a locked metal box. I just wanted them for the payphones, to hear the line connect, to listen to the static, tell Mel I was always right here. I couldn't get to them. We didn't have a doctor or nurse in our group, but we did have a nursing student named Miles. He was able to calculate body weights and, with Mack's help, rationed all our food individually. and we could last 18 days at minimum levels for survival. I hope to God we didn't need that long. That's also not true. If you have water, you can go way more than 18 days if you already have food, but whatever.
Whatever,
I
Survivor
hope
Man.
to God we... What?
I said, whatever, Survivor Man.
I mean, you'd be miserable, but you would... If you are eating food and rationing it, you're going to live a lot longer than that.
I can only
Especially
have
if you're not,
one.
if you're just sitting there.
I can only have one ding dong and one mamba a day.
Yes. That's all you get.
I'd actually, I'd live off that. Mambas and ding dongs. Are you kidding me? That sounds like heaven. Honestly, that sounds great.
I feel like if you're in this situation, you'd just be like, why are you all so weird? why is everyone being so weird right now?
Yeah. I mean, don't be wrong. It would be uncomfortable, but at the same time, it'd be like, why are we all acting like tribes?
It's like, are you role playing? What is happening? Yeah.
Wonder how long it takes till they kill somebody and they cook like a body or something like that. It's got to lead
4
to that.
days. 4 days.
Yeah,
Less than 100 hours. Yeah. They're going to cannibalize someone in the United States just in the middle of a blizzard. I hope to God we didn't need that long. I could only hope the other groups were rationing their food as well, and if not, we had a schedule of sentries. Okay. All right. They got sentries, Hunter.
What the fuck are sentries? We had a schedule of sentries?
Yeah, sentries. Yeah. Sentries are guards.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was laughing. Yeah. It's didn't even say we had a schedule of guards. Sentry is an old Roman word for guard.
I was just saying it lost me. Yeah. They're just like Spartan warriors standing there.
Yeah. They have bronze shields and spears.
Yeah.
So that
while everyone
they have
eats
the
their M&Ms.
giant red brush helmets.
Yeah.
So that 2 people from our group were always awake and watching for trouble. We melted snow for water, tried to wash clothes. Everyone stunk, whole station. By the 5th day, the situation was critical. People cried all the time. Arguments, fistfights, yelling. I watched a woman from Denver shove a woman from Kansas City into the wall. It erupted into chaos on both sides. Kansas City came after Denver, and soon dozens of people in both groups were fighting, Kansas City having the clear advantage. I was halfway across the room when Acker finally intervened, calling his group back with a laugh and telling them to
play nice.
On the 6th day, we finally got news. The crackle of the PA after so long probably scared everyone in the building, but we hung on every word that came after.
Good afternoon, folks. Station Master here. Just wanted to give you a quick update. We still have quite a blizzard outside, so we are not able to depart any buses at this time. However, we are hoping the weather will clear up in the next couple days. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee or tea if that's your thing, and settle in. Please also remember that this is very important that you do not leave the station for your own safety. Thanks, folks, and we'll let you know when we have something more.
The room, which had been quietly gasping and cursing during the announcement, became loud and chaotic when it ended. I felt the same. A few more days. Days. Delicate ecosystem of human suffering would not support days more of this. Damn it.
Damn is right.
That's all Mack said, and then sat down to work on a document he had been writing for the last few days. He was often writing or erasing and rewriting. I knew better than to ask him about it, but Gracie seemed to think he needed to do it. Dude, that thing I said about like writing a book, like a religious text.
Yeah, it's becoming reality now.
It's becoming reality. Also, it's funny to imagine that before a group of guys are like, even, hey, I'm going to tie a rope to the door and try to look around the side of the building or where like the back entrance is and stuff. Before they try any of that, they're like, we're going to start bashing people, you know?
I'm curious to see when it starts, like when we start figuring out what exactly is outside. Also, too, I'm surprised that like also there hasn't been more of an attempt to break down the door to where the people are sitting at, the station master. You
know, actually, I just had a thought when I was talking about like people trying to figure it out. You know what kind of story this reminds me of?
What?
This reminds me of an M. Night Shyamalan story.
Oh, I can see that, like a little twisty kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like there's a twist at the end and people are like turning on each other, and there's a group of guys. There's like a cast of characters who each have like a quirk about them or something like that, and they'll try to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
I don't suppose you got any more of those M&Ms, Gracie. I asked one day when I caught her counting out individual nuts for the rations.
Fuck, I wish.
Most of the last couple days for me had been getting to know the other people in the Minneapolis group and playing cards. Gracie was the best at poker and often ended up with all the peanut shells, which we've been using as chips. Mack played too, but seemed less and less his usual jovial, read the sarcasm there, self as the days passed. Dylan drew a lot and talked about Sarah, how he met her, work, why they'd broken up, his fear of commitment, when he realized he loved her, ran into her years later at a New Year's Eve party, and how it was going to be different this time, which he didn't have all worked out, but he had faith.
It almost seems like all of it's like it's almost like a lovesick tour bus. You have Mack who got broken up and he doesn't even have the girl's number. He's just meeting her there. You have Gracie with her like methed out boyfriend who's like obviously abusive and assaulting her. Dylan broke up with his girl and now he's like trying to win her back. And then now even Stykes is like he is desperately trying to be with her, but it's like almost like the universe is splitting them apart. But he initially like was going on the bus to flee her. I'm almost literally wondering if his love for for Mel is what's fucking what's causing the storm or something.
That I think that would be an interesting idea if there's some connection between the love stuff and the storm, you know. Maybe. I don't know. I hope it doesn't go nowhere. That'd be sad. But the following day was the 7th day, a milestone, an entire week. We all had horrible headaches from the ever alight, bright fluorescent lights. We weren't eating as much as we should, and we were all bored to tears. This was the mood when Amanda and John Pollock approached us with 2 other Denverans in tow. The group had all kept strictly to themselves since the night of the fight between Denver and Kansas City, so I was immediately wary. I met them at the top of the aisle with Mack and Dylan at my sides. Pollux, what can we do for you? John cleared his throat.
We're actually just taking stock of food. Our area had a cigarette machine and a soda machine, so we've run out of actual food fairly quickly. We're hoping.
We need all the groups to donate food to Denver.
Amanda interrupted.
We're dying.
You're dying?
Yes! Or we will if we don't get any food.
What do you have to trade?
Are you kidding? This is a matter of life and death, you heartless fuck. Exactly. So what do you have to trade? We're not trading anything. Pity.
Gracie said, standing up on her chair next to us.
You can't get something for nothing, you know.
Cigarettes! We can trade you cigarettes and soda.
Dad, no, they don't need any of that.
We'll take it. Keeping up morale's important, too. Cigarettes and soda will help.
You got any weed?
Gracie asked as she leered over the exchange.
Why don't you just give us some food, and when you want cigarettes...
No. We have 12 people to feed, including a kid. You have 15. You want food, you trade. I'm guessing you really want food.
Fine. We will make a trade.
One moment. I walked back into the Minneapolis group and let them know what was happening. Most people were okay with the trade as long as we got enough back, and as long as there was enough for us to survive for another week. The mother and her son were less enthusiastic about it, but as a parent, I wouldn't trade food my child could eat for soda and cigarettes either. But there were other people in the station who could starve if we didn't. I returned to the Pollocks with my offer. We want 20 sodas, 20 packs of cigarettes. We'll give you 15 packs of nuts, 5 packs of trail mix, and 10 assorted candy bars in trade. That is a horrible trade.
That's absurd. We need more. We have 15 people. Then I suggest you ration it.
Emily sneered and stepped up in Mack's face. I tensed, sure she was going to try something, but all she did was stare and then tell him,
You stink.
To which Mack laughed. All we've been able to have were makeshift showers in the bathroom sinks. Everyone stunk. We exchanged what was promised, and then I watched as the Pollocks made a similar deal with Salt Lake. They had more people, so offered less, but Emily kept her temper in check this time. Finally, I saw them make their way over to Kansas City. Or I could even wonder how'd that go, Acker's voice carried across the entire building.
Keep walking, honey. You don't have anything we want.
She said something back to him and Acker laughed. Hopefully whatever she got from us in Salt Lake would be enough to get by for a couple more days. But the 10th day at Whitefall, 10 days. But the 10th day at Whitefall, no one was crying or screaming or fighting anymore. Most people slept a lot. Conversations were quietly spoken. I occasionally saw people quietly leave out of the station when it was my turn for watch. It looked like they've had enough. Never came back.
I just want to say too, after 10 days, this is when I would believe that people are starting to get tribal and shit, like very guarded with resources.
I think around 10 days, if you combine the beginning of the tribal stuff with they keep sending more people to look who aren't coming back, then I think the tribal thing begins. Like if you have someone who's like, I'm just going to hug the wall and look over this back wall, that guy doesn't come back. Someone's like, here, I'm just going to hold a few belts together. It'll be like 5 feet out, never comes back. Combine that with 10 days, and then I think the tribal stuff starts, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's when people get like hungry, you know? Salt Lake was the first to really struggle. They had the biggest group, but still had tried to share with Denver. They were down to half rations before any of the other groups. We offered them what we could spare. Still, 16th day, a rumor spread that someone had died. Watched them haul the girl out into the snow. She was very slight to begin with, not an ounce of fat on her. Her skin looked gray, made her look shell-shocked. I knew she felt responsible. The girl was hers from the Salt Lake City group. I'll remember that look for the rest of my life. But the 18th day, just casually on...
just another fucking week passes, good lord. Almost reminds me, the flow of this almost reminds me of like Infinite IKEA or something. Oh yeah, it does kind of feel like that a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right. By the 18th day, I realized the baby wasn't crying anymore. Oof.
Oh, that's a great... Ooh. That was a good like point of dread right there. Just that, because it doesn't elaborate further. That's all it says. I forgot about the baby, but that's menacing. That I like that part. I mean, obviously not the dead baby, but you get what I mean. Like
I like the dead baby. Fuck it.
It's a horror podcast. Yeah. Anyway, we were dangerously low on food. Miles had dropped us to half rations. Still called Mel just to hear the static, but I talked to her all the same. Told her how much I loved her and our growing baby. Told her I was always right here. The boredom had really gotten to people. They laid around staring at walls, half catatonic. They begged Miles, keeper of our food, for something to eat. He'd just shake his head every time, not saying anything. He looked to be cracking too. Mack worked on his pages. Dylan drew. Gracie counted almonds over and over again. People played cards. We waited for rescue. On day 19, we were awakened from our stupor by the loud crack of the PA again. It had been weeks and most of us were too shocked to react to the noise.
Morning, folks. Just wanted to give you another update. We've heard from the National Weather Service that the storm shouldn't let up for another 10 or 12 days. Not what you wanted to hear, I'm sure, but chin up. Help yourself for a coffee or tea, and please, of course, let us know if you need anything or have any concerns. We can't wait to get you back on the road.
That's fun.
That would drive me insane.
Well, I mean, it's obviously like the voice being like 10 to 12 days. It's like whatever entity is controlling all this is just speaking in the voice of the PA person, you know?
Yeah.
I imagine whenever the PA person left the desk and they can't get into the doors, into the back rooms, that's when like the supernatural thing took over. Maybe the actual workers there died or something like that. You know, it's almost like, it's not as good quality, I wouldn't say, but it's a little left-right game to me, where it's like you get on the road and you enter this other dimension, right? Where the rules are different and there's something happening behind the veil and all that.
It's still so vague though of what is, besides like the idea that it's like, okay, well, they're stuck in some kind of like loop, or maybe it is just chaotic weather, but right now it's still extremely vague.
There's no way it's chaotic weather.
It can't be chaotic weather, but still, I'm just saying
people are people are disappearing out in the void and stuff like that. I would like less about the Lord of the Flies stuff, and I would like more supernatural storm mist stuff myself, or at least let the Lord of the Flies stuff show. Because like you said, in the mist, they do get to the Lord of the Flies point. It just takes a really long time, right?
Yeah.
Dead silence reigned after the PA shut off. Shocked silence, appalled silence. So some guy from Denver broke it.
I have some fucking concerns.
He screamed, ran full force at the employees only door, using his head as a battering ram again and again. I could see the blood spreading across the metal door from across the room. People sprung up out of their seats, but not to help him. No, they flung him aside and began battering the door. Over and over, piles of people running into the door, shoving against it again and again. I could hear the metal buckling from the other side of the room. I was honestly surprised people had the strength after eating so little, but then I noticed most of those battering the door were Kansas City. They hadn't shared any of their rations with the other groups. A loud crack and the door broke in. People trampled each other to get inside, and Mack and I were hauling ass over there immediately as well. Grab what you can, I yelled to the rest of the group who followed us in. Okay, so now I'm annoyed because I thought it was just like a supernatural thing. They couldn't open that door, right? But are you telling me they could have broken that if they just tried hard enough this whole time and no one did that?
Well, maybe. I mean, we don't know yet. I mean, maybe there's something in there with the door. You know what I mean?
Beyond the door was anarchy. People grabbing and tearing at everything, from coffee grounds for the staff coffee pots to rolls of paper towels to books. I could only hope my group was hoarding shit as well. The inside of the room was pretty disappointing in the end. Carpeted room with lockers, a couch, and a few nicer chairs, and another smaller room with manifest, route maps, and the PA system.
What the fuck are they?
Dylan yelled. Where indeed? There were no drivers here. No one to make the announcement. There was nothing. No one. So where had they gone? Where was the man who had been speaking to us 5 minutes ago? I became aware of a commotion at the same moment that Mack tried to clue me into it. Acker and a couple others of his group trying to push people out. What the hell, Acker? This ain't your show, I said, coming into the main room. Turned to me and spat on the floor at my feet.
This is Kansas City territory. This room and everything in it is ours. Fuck you, that's not happening,
Gracie said, and then picked up an empty coffee pot and hurled it at the wall.
Now, play nice, little girl.
Hey, I snapped my fingers in his face to get his attention back on me. You think you own this room because the door is near your so-called territory?
Yeah, but if you want to dispute that, we'll gladly reconsider.
I didn't need to look around the room to know that would never happen. Acker's group was surprisingly healthy looking and had more men than women or children. The other groups, even mine, were pale and tired. If he wanted a carpet and a couch, he could have them. Books, I said. Let us take as many books as we want, and we won't dispute your claim to this room. Some brunette standing next to Acker laughed.
Take the fucking books.
You got anyone knows radios in your group?
Mack asked him. Acker narrowed his eyes at Mack as if debating if he should answer, and then nodded tightly.
Try to rig the PA system to call out, or maybe look around for the system that will.
We don't want to be here any more than you do, old man.
Fine. I turned to my group. Take the books, as many as you can handle. It'll help with the boredom. Yes, everything. Take everything. I wasn't about to leave them a single page. Amanda Hewen seemed to agree, and her group, bigger as it was, took even more than we did. I saw someone with a copy of The Shining and plucked it right out of her hands.
The Shining, huh?
Gracie said, noticing the book in my hand. Yep, Stephen King. Genius stuff. Something to pass the time since we only hear from the PA once a month.
Yeah? What I want to know is where's the fucking coffee and tea?
Group kept to themselves for the rest of the day. Kansas City locked behind the employees only door. I could only imagine what was going on in there. So far, they hadn't screwed with anybody, so I was happy to let them keep to themselves. It was a couple days later, maybe 9 o'clock at night, that the first murder occurred. Most of us were reading, a few of us sleeping. Gracie and Dylan were playing cards. I was in conversation with Miles. The food, even at half rations, would only last a few more days. Things were dire. It was time to drop to quarter rations, like Salt Lake and Denver had days before. What about boiling clothes or leather or something? He shook his head.
We'll do it, but it's not going to be enough.
Damn.
Maybe we can talk to Kansas City.
Why Kansas City? They're dangerous. Likely to stab me for just asking.
Because look at them. They're not weak. Not one person in that group is showing signs of malnutrition. They have food. Denver and SLC are as fucked as we are.
I sighed and looked toward their door. Shit. The word was hardly out of my mouth before the door was flung open and a guy from Denver was pushed through it. He was young, 20s maybe. He was small.
Fuck!
Acker followed the stumbling man out.
Where the fuck are you, woman?
She emerged from the hallway her group had been using, a bored look on her face.
What is it? What are you doing with Jeremy?
You mean your little spy? We caught him creeping through our vent, trying to get into our area. You know anything about this? Of course not. What do you think, I'm stupid?
Jeremy, for his part, looked terrified. He said not a word, tried to catch himself as Acker and the brunette, I think her name was Natalie, shoved him between them violently.
You're saying you didn't send this little prick to steal from us? No, we wouldn't do that. You have nothing we want. You forget, we've all been inside your little room.
Acker studied her a moment longer and then picked up Jeremy and shoved him at her feet. The rest of the Kansas City group seemed to materialize behind her, looking healthy and strong, just as Miles had said.
Then deal with him, in front of everyone here.
He spread out his arms and gestured to the entire station.
Show us how you deal with thieving spies, or we'll deal with you, since you seem to speak for Denver.
I wasn't going to take anything.
Jeremy protested, but then Emily kicked him in the ribs and he gasped.
Yeah!
Acker smiled and leaned back against the wall, folding his arms.
That's a good start.
Emily didn't even hesitate. She kicked him again, and then again, and because she was too weak to do any more damage, she addressed her group.
Participate in Jeremy's punishment. All of you.
A couple members of her group stepped forward, also looking hesitant. The others stayed back. Emily stepped away and gestured at Jeremy again, who was moaning on the floor and bleeding from his mouth.
Participate, or you don't eat today, or tomorrow.
God, I mumbled, and Mack, who had appeared alongside me, agreed. It was brutal. The kicks, the punches, they were weak. Jeremy, like his attackers, was frail. It went on for an entire minute before I couldn't take it anymore. That's enough, Emily. You're going to kill him. I yelled as I left my group to approach the chaos.
Yes, that's quite enough. I would say he's learned his lesson. Everyone stop. No.
Emily said quietly, but it didn't matter that the words were soft. Her group wouldn't have heard them anyway. They were mad with bloodlust, punching, kicking, angry. Angry at their situation, the hopelessness of it, their likely impending deaths. But not as Jeremy, who by now had gone silent. And when the last of them finally ran out of steam and collapsed on the floor next to him, Jeremy breathed his last death rattle.
Oh my God.
I heard Gracie whisper from somewhere behind me. Emily ordered the body dragged outside. Kansas City went back into their room. Salt Lake City looked on as if nothing had happened, and I dropped into a seat next to Dylan, who continues to sketch mountains for his Sarah.
Everything's gonna be different now,
he said without looking up from his book. And he was right. That was the night the power went out. It had been over 3 weeks, and we had all gotten used to the blinding fluorescent lights, which never dimmed and always hummed. I didn't mind the darkness so much at first. We had lighters, and someone had found a couple candles among the books in the employee break room. It was heat we missed most, and that became an issue within the first hour. I had everyone pull out all the clothes in their bags and then assign them so that everyone in my group would stay as warm as possible. Next, we inventoried matches and lighters. When that was done, we dragged 2 metal garbage bins in our territory into our area and piled all the wood we could find, chairs, small tables, wall paneling, into the corner of our section next to the food. I watched as the other groups did the same. Salt Lake City and Minneapolis each had piles and piles of books which would work for kindling. Denver, as far as we could tell, only had a few books, or none at all. No one had any idea what was happening behind the closed doors of Kansas City's new territory, but it wasn't long before we saw the orange glow of a fire underneath the crack in the door. That made sense. They have years of paper manifests and charts back there. Smoke, with nowhere to go, hovered over us. We had to crack the door for ventilation, which only seemed to make it colder. Time became confusing. Miles lost track of when to feed people. My watch kept running, but the time never seemed right. Day bled to night and back to day slower than I thought it should have. Life became a slow, boring, painful nightmare. We burned the book slowly, took turns in front of the fire. Denver struggled with the fire. They started eating snow, which Miles had already told me was one of the worst things you could do. It burns energy to warm snow up in your body. We tried to tell them, but Emily told me to screw off. And then one day Amanda came to speak to me. I just hung up the phone, my 100th call to Melody, to listen to the static and tell it that I was always there. I hadn't heard Melody's voice in weeks.
Stykes?
I looked up to find the tall woman standing at the payphone next to me. She was pale and thin, and her skin was purple in places. Imagine I looked much the same. I nodded at her.
How have you been?
Could be better, I guess.
I know the feeling. Have you lost anyone?
Not yet, but soon. Everything felt heavy in my chest. We would lose someone soon. An older woman named Valerie, or possibly even Mack, who was more absorbed in his letter writing every day. People were starting to get sick.
We lost someone last night.
I'm sorry, Amanda. You have a bigger group. It was bound to happen to you first.
Yeah. He got sick. Alex, he was in his 30s, healthy, but he just got sick.
I'm sorry. She took a deep breath.
We went to bring him out of the snow to bury him where we buried Andrea. She was gone.
What do you mean? She wasn't dead?
No, she was definitely dead.
My brain was cloudy, slow to work, slow to process. Are you saying she got up and walked away?
No. I'm saying someone took her.
Someone took her body?
Yes, Stykes, someone took her body.
What for?
We don't know, but you know Natalie from Kansas City?
Yeah, I know that. I'm gonna say bitch. Yeah, I know the bitch.
Yeah, well, yesterday when she came out to use the restroom, she was wearing Andre's jacket, the one we buried her in.
They're eating him, by the way. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that's what's happening.
You don't think so?
I fear this is going to become another weird sex thing.
No, I don't think. You think so? I don't think so.
Just the note earlier about Gracie with like, oh, she knows too much for age, and the guy on the bus who was touching her, and then like the thing with him having a girl and she's
I think people
pregnant and
are. I
everyone
think
being
people
related
are.
to love and
I think
stuff.
people are dying.
And the mention
they're-
over and over that Kansas City is primarily men.
I think that they're primarily the people are dying and they're digging them up and they're eating them and they're like stripping them of their clothes and shit. Is what I think. That's also why they look so healthy.
I'm just saying. And if that's right, there might be. I feel like Kansas City's going to want to trade for Gracie. You know,
Right.
yeah, because this is a CK Walker story. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. Okay, so Kansas City stripped her corpse for clothes.
I think there's more to this than that, Chris.
You think they're abusing her corpse? I didn't know a politer way to say it.
No, Stykes, come on, think about it. They're eating her.
I heard Gracie before I saw her. She'd been standing next to me for God knows how long. Eating her?
We think so too. Our wall is near the door. We smell meat cooking sometimes. Do you remember when they were first moving in that room? They were almost as starving as we were. Right. And have you seen them lately?
I groaned. This was something. This was wrong. Eating dead bodies.
So what I'm saying is, be careful of Kansas City. Even more than you have been. Andre's dead. Jeremy's dead. And now Alex. What's gonna happen when they run out of supplies?
I gotta talk to Mack. I ran a cold, numb hand through my greasy hair. Listen, maybe we can agree to some sort of alliance. We'll watch your back. You watch ours. She nodded.
I think that's necessary at this point.
I nodded goodbye and then stalked over to Mack, who was viciously erasing a sentence from his letter. We gotta talk.
Oh yeah? About what?
Kansas City.
What do they do now?
Salt Lake thinks they're eating the dead. Mack nodded and kept writing.
That makes sense.
Mack, this is a big deal. They got the first girl that died and that kid Jeremy. And Amanda lost someone last night, but he was sick. Not sure if they'll eat him.
You're worried about what happens when they run out of the meat stock.
Recoil, that is phrase. Yeah, if that's what they're doing, they're stronger than we are.
Yeah, well, we've got a bigger problem than that.
What problem?
I don't know if you've been watching, but Denver don't have no fires today.
I threw up my hands. We've had enough to deal with trying to protecting our own people, and now Salt Lake. I can't be concerned with Denver getting cold. Max stopped writing and flipped the page over. He looked at me with hooded eyes.
What do you mean now, Salt Lake? What did you promise them?
Just that we'd watch their back and they would watch ours.
Are you kidding me? We don't have the resources for that. Or the energy. Their big group in this territory has strategic disadvantage, especially for defense. That Hewen woman means well, but that group is fucked.
They have huge numbers.
Huge numbers don't mean nothing if they can't even stand up.
What was I supposed to do, Mac? Huh? She didn't have to warn me about KC.
Like I said, we've got bigger problems than some cannibalism.
Bigger problems than some... Like what?
Like the fact that Acker and the Polacks have been talking an awful lot lately.
Dylan. Dylan was the most observant person I'd ever met. He was a good person to have this conversation. Come here. Dylan handed his notebook to Dan, 5-year-old in our group. Dan was pale and thin, definitely showing signs of malnutrition, but he was also eating the best out of all of us. We made sure of it. Dylan sat down next to Mack and nodded at the letter.
Get it right yet?
Getting there. Not like she'll read it. Just passes that time.
I was curious what he meant, who it was for, but like Mack said, we had bigger problems. What do you think about the Polacks and the Acker? Dylan shook his head.
I don't know. Looks kind of like they made a deal about something. Possibly food. More likely a power lines, though.
That doesn't make any sense. Denver's the weakest group. Acker wouldn't have chosen the worst.
Not necessarily. Denver is also the most ruthless of the three of us.
Which means whatever deal they were trying to make, it was not good for us. Damn. Dylan shrugged.
We'll just have to wait and see.
No, we don't. We need something to defend ourselves with. The metal from the chairs or something. We can break them and then bend them into big metal pipes.
If we have the energy, we can try.
So we did. It was exhausting, and what we got out of it may not have been worth the effort. The fruits of our labor were 7 jagged, sharp, curved pieces of shiny metal. It wasn't great, but it was better than nothing. Could have been hours, or it could have been days later that the raid happened. By the time I was woken up, it was already over. Dylan and Jessica had been on watch, and it seemed that was all they'd done. What happened? I asked, looking over at the Salt Lake City group, who looked scared and a little shell-shocked.
Kansas City and Denver went over. Acker and Polacks exchanged some words with Amanda. It didn't seem to go well. Emily grabbed some girl from Salt Lake and shoved her head into the broken glass in the vending machine. She was bleeding everywhere. Salt Lake is big. They try to fight it, but they're just so weak. With Casey backing them, the fight was quick. Lots of injuries in Salt Lake. Denver and Casey together. Chris, there was nothing we could have done, even if you were awake.
I promised that... Damn it. What did they take? Their food?
Their books.
Dylan answered. That was when I noticed that Salt Lake City didn't have a burn barrel for warmth. Denver did. Shit. I'll go talk to Amanda. She was curled on her side, laying against a wall. When I had met her weeks ago, Amanda had been a confident, strong, vibrant woman, but now she looked like a different person entirely. I kneeled down next to her. I heard about what happened last night. I'm sorry.
There's nothing you or your group could have done. Denver and Casey together, we were too weak to fight it.
We've got a decent supply of books. Why don't you come join our group? We'll figure out food and then at least you'll be warm.
I suggested that this morning with what's left of Salt Lake City. They don't want anything to do with the other groups. Yours included.
Amanda, they'll die. Do they realize that?
Yes. They're tired. We're all tired. No rescue is coming. They've accepted it. Before long, we'll all be eating each other.
No, we won't. She gave me a half smile that didn't reach her eyes, and she closed them and coughed.
I hope you survive this, Stikes.
I'm curious where it just doesn't seem like a normal, like I'm wondering where the paranormal or like the kind of like surreal moment is coming in, because right now it really does just read like people stuck in a snowstorm.
If it is a purgatory thing, then maybe it's like a test, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of got that vibe initially where they throw the guy off the bus, so it's kind of like they're being tempted, or like it's like, how do you handle these situations? So maybe this is like a final trial by fire sort of thing before the afterlife. Maybe. Who knows? But I did survive it, but John Pollock didn't. Days later, Kansas City came out of their room, something they rarely did anymore. They dragged a desk out behind them. Dylan and I were at the payphones. Me, listening to the static. Dylan, talking softly down the line. Sarah, or whom he imagined was Sarah, I assume. There was very little to keep us sane after a month at Whitefall. Acker, Natalie, and a few larger members of Kansas City approached Denver's hallway. John stepped out first, followed by his daughter Emily. The rest of Denver stayed back against the wall.
So,
Acker started.
Denver, we provided us. That wasn't the deal.
Emily folded her arms, tried to appear casual, but it was obvious from the sweat on her brow that she felt anything but.
Holding out on you how? You got what was promised. Did I? Because it seems to me that while you got the books you begged for, we did not receive the payment you promised. So where is it?
Emily shifted on her feet.
We delivered the boy.
That was not the deal. You were very aware of the terms when we agreed to assist you in finding fuel for your fires. So, where is the woman?
Emily dropped her arms.
We're starving too.
There are 14 people in my group. We need to eat. We only had cigarettes and soda in our territory. That's not my problem. Where's the woman? She's gone. She was gone days ago. You don't know what it's like in that hallway. That is not my problem either. I was promised an adult and I didn't receive one. You lied to me. Deceived us. That won't stand.
Acker looked over at a large, red-haired man in his group. The man grabbed Emily by the back of her head and walked her to the burning barrel in Denver's hallway. Moved to intervene, yet again, because this could only be brutal, could only end one way. Dylan shot his arm out and shook his head. We had our own problems. We had been down to quarter rations for days. We were boiling clothing, eating leather. We needed to pick our battles, and we weren't even a part of this war. The red-haired man shoved Emily at Acker, who caught her by the hair. Emily screamed as Acker pushed her head down toward the barrel.
Stop! Just stop! We'll get you what we promised, I swear it!
John Pollock yelled as a woman held him back and another KCN took a shot at his ribs.
Please don't hurt her! I swear, we'll get you twice what we promised for the books. It's too late for that. Denver betrayed our arrangement. Emily Pollock speaks for Denver. Therefore, Emily Pollock will take the punishment.
Acker shoved Emily's head deeper into the barrel, and we heard the hiss of flame meeting skin and the smell of burning hair.
Jesus.
Emily didn't scream. She moaned, the sort of moan a dying animal makes as it's being consumed, but still lives to feel the viscera being ripped from its body.
Please stop!
John yelled again, tears running down his face. Dylan looked away, but I had to watch. I spoke from Indianapolis. I had to watch. For them.
Pity. You were really quite pretty. Can't imagine what you look like now. Should we finish it? Burn you in this barrel? Your group will be warm for days, won't they? The leader should sacrifice for her people.
Emily moaned again, but still she fought with her legs, kicking and jabbing. Acker laughed, pulled her head out of the barrel, and threw her back against the wall. Her hair was burned away from the front half of her head. Her skin was melted, curled, and grotesque. But she lived.
So,
Acker started and helped Natalie tie a long cord over the ceiling beam that ran above the desk.
who speaks for Denver?
People in the hallway said nothing. John was docile, limp, as if all hope was lost. His daughter already dead.
Well, come on, tell me.
Acker insisted, climbing on top of the desk and securing the cord while Natalie had somehow expertly tied into a noose.
Who speaks for you? Is it Emily Pollock? She'll be dead within days with those injuries, and she knows it. Is it her?
Silence, and then
Mama Ed.
we all heard it. We all heard Emily try to speak as her bulging eyes watched Natalie twirl the noose. Acker jumped down from the desk and squatted in front of her, hands on his knees.
Seems you're the one willing to make a decision, Cherry Pie. So I'll ask you, who speaks for Denver? Again, sweetheart, speak up. Are you saying your father?
Emily nodded weakly. John lifted his head, the expression on his face one I can't even describe. Pain, total devastation. His daughter was selling him out when she had no hope to live for herself.
Disgusting.
Mack whispered beside me. Acker rose.
Do you agree?
He asked the rest of Denver, who still cowered against the wall in the hallway.
Is it John Pollock that speaks for you?
At first, no one moved, but then there were a few nods and weak agreements. Acker shrugged.
So be it.
He nodded to the woman holding John, and she dragged him toward the table. John didn't fight, didn't seem to want to escape his fate. Natalie and the red-haired man hoisted John on top of the table and put the noose around his neck. Dylan was shaking next to me, and I turned him away, pushed him toward Gracie, who caught him in her arms, but she continued to watch the lynching. Acker addressed the rest of the room.
Promises are very important in the survival situations. They are often the difference between life and death. Denver betrayed us, and John Pollock will die for that. This is a lesson to everyone still alive. Do not fuck with Kansas City.
Acker leaned in close to John and told him something not meant for the entire room to hear, but I heard it.
Once you're dead, we're gonna eat you. And then we're gonna eat your daughter.
John remained stoic, unmoving, and unspeaking as Acker hopped down from the desk. No ceremony at all, Natalie and the red-haired man pushed the desk out from under John. The rope dropped half a foot and grew taut. John kicked and wheezed, pulled at the noose around his neck. Lasted full minutes, several, until he stopped moving. I watched it all.
I mean, like all of this, like weird. I mean, the mist is just so clear. Like I keep thinking of the mist, but I will say,
It's
like
the
this brutal.
And not only that, but the whole mention to Stephen King. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a huge nod to the mist. But these moments are fun where it now starts to get into the real tribalism kind of stuff of, almost like fucking Judge Holden or something is what it reminds me of. Just this brutal guy taking shit. You know what I mean? His name's Judge Holden, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't really. Yeah. I would say more so it fits like the religious leader. Judge Holden's whole thing is he demands to be the god of, effectively his own god of creation, and that war's man's ultimate calling. This is more so, I mean, Lord of the Flies is a decent title. I forget the name of the leader of the jocks in that, but it's kind of reminiscent of that sort of thing. But I mean, a lot of stories about like,
they're all kind
people
of like
getting stranded and breaking up into groups.
Hits the same theme of the woman, like the religious woman who becomes like the kind of nut job leader of the group in the store. Yeah.
Which, depending on how you view that story, her death is actually the sacrifice that makes the mist go away. You don't know why the mist ends. She dies and then the mist leaves. So
the Emily selling out her dad there was pretty crazy.
That was pretty wild too. Yeah. Yeah, just absolute, just all of them become monstrous, selfish.
That shocked me pretty bad. I mean, usually in stories like that, it's like obviously a parental relationship or like a father-daughter. Usually they're like going to be really tight knit, but in this one, like almost immediate. I mean, it's not immediate, but it is surprising that it's just like, oh yeah, fuck it, take my dad, not me.
Yep. Well, we'll keep on chugging.
Next part.
Emily died the next day. From what we heard, she never spoken again. Last words, the ones that ordered her own father's execution. Further penance for their crimes, Kansas City had taken all of Denver's books and wood and half of their remaining food, which left them with one pack of nuts for 12 people. They began to die, one by one, over the next 3 days. Most were sick already, like Salt Lake, and as they died, the bodies were either tossed out into the snow or hauled away by Kansas City, depending on if they died of sickness or starvation.
We're dying.
Mack told me one night.
Some of us won't last until the end of tomorrow.
I know. I don't know what to do about it, I said, and the scratch of Dylan's pencil stopped when the words left my mouth.
Yes, you do.
I'm open to suggestions. What do we do then?
What if we have to?
Gracie told me, a surprisingly amount of fire in her words, for as weak and broken as we all were.
I did not survive everything that happened in my life only to die in a fucking bus station.
What do you guys want to do? Eat people? Is that it? Want to become cannibals like Kansas City?
It's not just Kansas City. It's Salt Lake too.
She nodded toward the wall that had once supported over 20 people, but now there were only 13. I was starving, I was unfocused, I hadn't noticed, but it was true. I watched in horror as a man from Salt Lake carved strips of flesh out of a dead woman's leg and handed it over to another woman, what looked like her daughter. They draped the pieces over a metal rod above the meager fire they could afford and watched them cook. I rose and went to talk to the man with the pocket knife. You're eating the dead.
Yeah.
He said without bothering to look up at me. Amanda's allowing this? The man wiped his face on his sleeve. His eyes were runny. They were also a blank of emotion.
Amanda's dead.
When?
This morning.
But how could you... why would... She would never have wanted this. It goes against your humanity. It goes against...
She's the one who insisted upon it.
He said, and then gestured to the body he was carving, and it was her. There's a t-shirt draped over her face, but I would have recognized her long auburn hair, now dull and brittle, anywhere. I stumbled back. Oh my God. Matt grabbed my arm and dragged me back to our camp. He shoved me into a chair.
Son, listen to me. We can't afford humanity anymore. Those people want to survive, and so do ours.
You're saying we should just...
I'm saying that I'm dying here anyway, so I won't. But you should. They should.
He said, gesturing back to our sick, dying group of busmates. You're not gonna die here, Mac.
Yes, I will. Maybe we all will. But you should at least try for it. You've got something to live for, don't you?
I swallowed. My mouth was dry. My lips were cracked.
Who is that you call every day?
Melody, my girlfriend, she's pregnant with my kid.
A family. That's enough. That's worth living for.
What about you, Mack? Who's that letter for? Who's in Post Falls? Mack leaned back in his seat and smiled. First time in weeks.
My daughter.
Yeah? You got grandkids too? Smile fell a little.
I don't know. She wouldn't say.
He was quiet for a moment.
I was a dumb kid. Knocked up a girl I knew. Nice girl. But I didn't want to be tied down. Left her some money in my car and I split. Never came back. I never saw her again. Thought about my kid a lot over the years. Finally did some digging about 10 years ago and found out I had a little girl. Elaine. She's in her 40s now. Took me a decade to gather up the courage to reach out to her. She was mad.
He laughed, a brittle sound.
She's still mad. Not that I blame her. After a couple of years of me bothering her every few days, she agreed to meet me. In Post Falls. Just her. If she has kids, she don't want me around them. And I don't blame her for that either. I don't deserve to know my grandkids.
I was silent for a few minutes, thinking about Mack when I met him, how desperately he'd want to make his connections and get to Post Falls on time. You're gonna meet her, Mack.
What I'm gonna do is finish my letter before I die. When I go, you have permission to use my body to fuel yours.
Damn it, Mack.
I have faith in you, Romeo.
He said and patted me on the shoulder before laying down on the floor to sleep. Mack slept a lot these days.
I said, good man, Mack.
Good man, Mack. I agree. And all my qualms about the story, I really like that moment. That was a good moment. I like it. Feels earned. Feels like it was kind of alluded to, like we talked about earlier. Like, why has he got to get a Post Falls so hard? And he's anxious because of that. He messed up, doesn't deserve it, can help someone else. I like that. Good character, good moment, all that.
It's a fun full circle moment for the relationship too.
Yeah. Yeah. Between like Mack and his daughter versus Chris and getting Melody pregnant, and now he's about to be a father, doesn't want to make the same mistakes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's literally also, it's a younger version of, I think Mack sees Stykes as the man that
He
maybe
sees
he wanted to be.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. The version of himself he wishes he was, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Not doing what, because Mack did what Chris almost did at the beginning of the story and ran off and left a woman he knocked up.
Yeah.
But now he's changing that. So, yeah.
Next part. Denver's gone.
What?
Denver's gone. The last four decided they'd rather die making a run for it than expire here against a wall and be eaten. I watched all of them leave an hour ago.
I nodded my head. That I can understand.
Chris, we have a decision to make. When I was in the bathroom, I heard Kansas City go through the wall. I heard them say that people are dying of natural causes, had no muscle and wasn't enough to eat. They were arguing.
Arguing about what?
About who in their group to sacrifice for food.
In their own group?
Yes, Chris, things are really bad. They're cannibalizing themselves because they aren't getting enough meat off the dead.
You've been starving for a month, maybe more. I don't even know how long it's been.
I know. But we're out of food, completely. The peanut shells, the leather, everything's gone. We have to do what we have to do to survive.
I know.
Hey, Stykes?
Dylan interrupted, sat down next to Gracie and gave me a long look.
We lost somebody last night.
What? Who did we lose?
Miles.
Ran my hands down my face. Damn it.
He wasn't eating all of his rations back when we had food. He was trying to make sure there was enough for Dan and his mom.
Damn it, Miles.
We need to... Before he died, explain to me how to prepare meat for consumption.
I heard him. I knew what he was saying. I looked around the 11 remaining members of my group. We wouldn't last much longer. Miles was only the first. Okay. Do it. I mean, which is a completely reasonable decision.
Yeah,
to make,
I mean,
right?
come on.
This
Yeah,
scenario.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, no reason. Also, the real reasonable decision to make, I feel like, was what the rest of the Denver people did and just run.
I think you
for
just
it,
got to get
know?
out of there. Fuck it. Yeah.
You just got to get out of there. Even if you die in the snow or there's some giant like monster in the maze or whatever,
Yeah.
you just got to go. Yeah. I think the easiest thing to do, I mean, you could even make a system where like you leapfrog it. If it turns, keep people at each corner, you know, to keep track of how far you can go and take turns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're too weak to do that now, but they should have done something like that earlier before they're eating each other. But yeah, in this situation, you have to eat them.
Yeah.
Of course. It happened at what I can only assume was night. The fire barrels were burning low. More people were asleep than awake. In fact, we had long given up the idea of sentries. No one could stay awake more than an hour anymore. Our bodies were shutting down. I woke up to screams, half-hearted, weak ones from my own group. It didn't take long to figure out what was wrong. The entire Salt Lake City group had been slaughtered while everyone slept. Most of them had their throats cut, necks straining blood onto the floor. Kansas City's door was wide open. I could see the bodies being harvested inside. I stumbled to my feet and crossed the long room to the door. I could sense Dylan and Gracie at my back. I saw Acker immediately. He was standing over a grill, an entire Weber grill, flipping pieces of meat over with a fork. Everything smelled of dead flesh. Paper plates full of meat lined bookshelves. The scene was absurd. You murdered them? Was the only thing I managed to push through my teeth.
Hey, Stykes, yeah. We found this thing in the closet. A whole Weber grill. Better than the garbage can Salt Lake was cooking over, right?
You murdered them! Launched myself at Acker, ready to tear him apart, but the red-haired guy caught me in the chin with a fist. Went down against the wall. Dylan helped me back up.
Easy. Play nice.
Acker handed the fork over to someone else in his group and approached me casually, hands in his pocket.
It was mostly a waste, you know? All of those people were sick. And those that weren't barely had any meat on them. They weren't going to survive, Stykes. Most of them had only hours left. What we did was humane.
None of this is humane. How many people have you murdered in this station by now?
We're starving, man. Look around. Look at our group. We're alive, not at death's door. Nobody's running a marathon, but we're more healthy than your people and the other groups. We do what we do to survive. And at the end of the day, we're all animals. Would you blame an animal for killing to survive?
Animals aren't people.
No. But people are animals. And you're starting to figure that out. Last night we saw you. Your people cutting up that kid in the Jets jacket. You're gonna eat him. It was always gonna come to that. You should have done it sooner. Now it's too late. Just like Salt Lake.
Is that a threat?
Maybe it would have been. But judging by what we're getting off of these fucking people, it wouldn't be worth it.
Let me ask you something, Acker. What's the point of surviving if you lose your humanity? He leaned into me and I could smell the stench of the people on his breath.
That's easy. Surviving.
I stared at him as he reached back and pulled a strip of meat from a paper plate and held it out to me. I tapped my jaw and he smiled, shoving it into his mouth and chewing, never breaking eye contact with me.
Come on, Chris. Let's go.
The smell of cooking meat was strong. It permeated the entire building by now. As much as I hated it, my mouth watered and my mind could think of little else. Miles had been stripped and prepared. Meat was cooking nearby. Dan watched it excitedly, as did the other members of my group. My only request had been that Dylan and the others harvest the body away from the side of our little camp. But Dan was a smart kid and he probably knew, but he was beyond caring. Most of us were. The meat was passed around, but I declined. I'd known Miles, talked to him, strategized with him. I knew he'd been on the way home from college for Thanksgiving break. He was excited about seeing his mom and his twin brother. So when the makeshift scrap of metals serving as a plate got to me, I passed on. Yeah, I was starving, but this was a person. And me? I couldn't eat a person. Especially not someone I knew. Kansas City kept their door cracked most of the time to allow the smoke from the Weber to escape. Sometimes we would hear arguments. Sometimes out and out brawling before things would go quiet again. Mack didn't work on his letter much anymore. He spent a lot of time listening to Dylan talk about Sarah. Mack had a fondness for young love, I think. Gracie hung out with Dan a lot as his mother was getting weaker and sicker by the day. She had also passed on the meat. though she encouraged Dan to eat his fill and forbid anyone from admitting what it actually was or who Dan had liked Miles. For my part, I still called Melody every day and told her I was always right here. Also told her I was sorry that I was never going home, that I'd never see her again. Now our child could watch how great of a mother she would become. Time was strange. It drifted by in unfamiliar increments. Hunger was constant, the cold relentless. Even the fire seemed to lose much of their heat as the hours passed. We were out of meat for Miles' body on the first day. Then an older man, Harry, died in his sleep. His wife told us it was his wish to contribute, so we cooked him and ate him too. Except for me. Couldn't bring myself to eat a man in front of his wife. And then came the last day. Very last day we spent at Whitefall. Who knew what day that was? Started with a lot of yelling. It was Acker, of course, and some of his people. A kid who couldn't have been more than 18 ran out of the employee break room. He seemed to be going for the front door, but Acker caught him, threw him on the floor.
You know the rules, Clarkson. You've been enjoying them long enough.
He turned to Natalie.
Get the hammer.
I rose to my feet, shaky and weak. I hadn't eaten anything but leather in days, but whatever was about to happen would be bad. If I was going to die anyway, maybe I could stop it. Stop this one bad thing from happening. What are you doing? I asked as I reached them. Acker did a table take and then started laughing.
Holy shit, Sykes, is that you? You look fucking horrible.
Acker chuckled as I pushed my way into the middle of the melee. What is all this? What are you doing to this kid?
Nothing to do with you.
I want to know anyway.
Sure you wouldn't rather just toddle along? Go finish dying in the corner?
What are you going to do with him?
Well, see, in the Kids City group, we have a rule about the greater good. And whatever the greatest good is that you can offer the group, well, that's what you gotta do.
And what's his greatest good? Acker took the hammer from Natalie and pointed at the kid.
His meat. That's all he's got left to offer at this point.
Gracie's voice rang out from behind me.
You're gonna kill a perfectly healthy person for their meat?
Natalie laughed.
Oh, honey, it wouldn't be the first time.
You've been cannibalizing your own group?
We're surviving, aren't we?
Yeah, you've snapped, Acker. That kid can't be more than 19. Pick an older person.
Our older person have other skills we can use. He doesn't. Anyway, this isn't a debate, Stikes. I've satisfied your curiosity, now fuck off. Boomer, hold him down.
The large, red-haired man flipped the kid over and sat on his back, holding his head between his meaty hands. The kid screamed bloody, terrified murder. I don't think I've ever heard more fear in a voice before or since. It was all too much for me. As Acker turned toward the kid, I rushed him from behind and sucker punched him in the back of the head. He went down, and the hammer skittered across the floor. They were on me in an instant, kicking, punching, even biting, and I couldn't fight back. I was a big guy, but I was thin now, drained of energy. Didn't have the strength. I heard Mack there, fighting, trying to pull them off me. Mack wasn't a great fighter in the best of times, but now, days from his death, I heard them beat him. I felt them beat me. At one point, I was lying on the floor looking across it, getting kicked from behind. Mack was in the fetal position, covering his head. Gracie was trying to get him, throwing punches of her own. She really was a little scrapper, but the hits seemed louder when they made contact with her body. I tried to call them all off, but no sounds came out of me. It's where my memories end. I woke up to someone dumping water down my throat. It was Dylan. I was on my back on the floor in our camp. I would recognize those ceiling tiles anywhere. I've been staring at them for what felt like years.
Take it easy. You got it pretty bad.
Dylan said. I sat up anyway with great effort. My vision was blurred and my mind was slow. Everything hurt. Gracie.
She's okay. A little banged up, but she's tough.
I nodded. It sounded like her. He handed the bottle to me and I took another sip of water. And Mack? Dylan didn't respond. Looked over at him, but he was looking out the window. The paint of black snow. And Mack?
Mack was hours away from dying anyways, Chris.
And did he?
The fight was too much for him.
God, no, Mack. Not you.
He said to tell you that he finished his letter.
Pushed my palms into my eyes. Where is it?
I put it in your backpack. Seemed like you know what to do with it.
Right. Did everyone else?
They're scared, but they seem a little stronger. They're eating.
Who? Dylan said nothing. Harry? Dylan took a deep breath.
Speaking of, you need to eat, Chris.
What about the kid from Kansas City? Did he? Dylan shook his head.
They were never gonna let him leave. You know that.
So he died anyway. After all that.
Yeah.
And I got Matt killed too.
Mack was done for anyway.
I said nothing and drank more water. Gracie was nearby. I could hear her singing to Dan. At least I hadn't gotten her killed. Only by the grace of God, though. I was fairly sure God long ago abandoned Whitefall.
Chris, you need to eat. You're weak. Your body needs to repair itself.
I looked down at the plate in Dylan's lap. It was filled with chunks of gray meat that smelled like rot and death, but also made me salivate with need. I can't.
I heard what you said to Mack about your girl and your baby. Have you ever told Melody that you would do anything for her?
My eyes snapped to his face. Screw you.
Would you do anything for your kid? He or she is gonna need you. Melody is gonna need you.
Is that why you do it? For Sarah? Dylan was quiet for a minute.
No. Not for Sarah. There is no Sarah. There never was. I do it for Sam.
There's no Sarah?
Everything I told you is true, but about Sam, not Sarah. I love him.
Looked down at the maid he was holding. He really must do this. To go against nature. Everything that made him human. He did it for Sam. I lifted my eyes to his face. Sam, who loves mountains. Dylan nodded and his eyes fell back to the meat. He sounds great, man. Dylan smiled a little at that and offered the plate to me again.
Do it for her. Do it for them.
I let out a long, slow breath.
You know Mack would smack you upside the head if you didn't.
I wanted to laugh, but it wasn't in me. Mack had never eaten someone he'd known. He died before having to suffer the indignity. I knew what I was eating. Good idea of who I was eating. I couldn't do it. But it didn't matter if I couldn't. Because I had to. I was starving. I was dying. Mack died for me. Mel needed me. Our baby needed me. So I reached over and picked up a chunk of silvery meat. It was well done and looked like it was cut for a stew. The smell was sickening, but saliva filled my mouth just the same. I set the cube inside and began to chew. It was tough, tasteless, but I still swallowed it practically whole. I took another piece and ate that, then another, and another. Then I was rabid, feral, starving. I'll say, so this story has dramatically won me back the more it gets near the end with like the chaos and stuff, specifically the stuff around Mack and all that. And that moment about Sam with, or the moment with Dylan with Sam who loves mountains, that was a touching moment. I like that.
Yeah.
I saw him as I consumed more and more of the meat. Acker, standing in the doorway of his room, watching me, a smug smile on his face, but I didn't care. I ate until only one piece of meat remained, and as I reached down to take it, the cackle of the PA popped overhead. Some of us screamed in shock, others gasped, and all fell silent.
Good evening, folks. I've got good news. The storm has let up, and the snow has been dug away from the bay doors. We're going to get you out of here within the next 30 minutes or so please check the overhead board in the terminal and line up at the corresponding doorway to your bus. I know many of you making the bus changes in Whitefall, so please be sure to double check your ticket before lining up. Our drivers on the bus is warming up for you as we speak, and we'll be all on our way in a few minutes. We'd like to thank you for your patience during this delay.
That's so uncanny in the midst of that. I love that. That's great. It was over. It was over and we were leaving. The power in the station suddenly clicked back on and we were washed in bright white light, and in it, we could see our crimes more fully. The half-eaten bodies, the pools of blood, the glass, the broken things, our sunken cheeks and the ribs in our chest, the gray piece of meat in front of me, once my friend. I could see the sinewy strings of muscle, and I ate that last piece right then because we were leaving, but I was still hungry. We all rose, picked up what was left of our bags, and checked the board in a trance. I was at door 4, Dylan was at 2, Gracie 1. We stood next to each other as we read the board, and we stared at each other as we got in our respective lines, but no one spoke. There was nothing to say, not even goodbye. All I had left in my bag was Mack's letter, some scraps of clothing, and $6 in cash. In a daze, I watched the bay door open, dug in my pocket for my ticket, which was still there after all these weeks, now bloody and torn. Richard, our bus driver from before, took my ticket and punched it without a word. I boarded the bus and took a window seat facing the station. There were only a handful of people on the bus. Everyone else was dead or lost. We were all in shock, not quite believing it was real, that we were escaping, that we weren't going to die in Whitefall. As we pulled away from the terminal, I noticed that the blizzard was over and I could see for miles. There was no town beyond the bus station. There never had been. Those that had ventured out had never returned, were lost in the white nothingness. I felt a body fall into the seat next to me. My eyes snapped over to find Acker shoving his ticket into his backpack.
Hey, Stykes. Didn't think you'd be on my bus. You headed to Seattle too?
I stared at him. Spokane.
Nice. I'm going to see my girlfriend. My family lives there too. The Thanksgivings at my dad's and are always unfucking pleasant because of his wife. I didn't even want to tell him I was coming. Just gonna hide out at my girl's house.
I didn't respond.
You gonna see your girl?
My family.
Sucks to be you then.
He unzipped the top of his bag and dug around a bit, then pulled out a king-size Milky Way.
Want one? I have a couple.
I stared at the candy bar. You had candy? Acker shrugged.
I was saving it. It's my favorite.
I tore it out of his hands and stood, then pushed against his legs to get out.
Name's Luke, by the way.
I didn't answer. Just moved to the back of the bus and sat in an empty row. I tore into the candy bar and it was gone in under a minute. The first stop we made was a fast food restaurant. I got off and bought the 3 biggest things on the dollar menu and then filled my water bottle for free. I couldn't think about the events of Whitefall. My body told me to eat, rest, eat, Mel. Whitefall would get its time later. First thing I did when I got to the receipt was glance at the date. It was Tuesday the 20th, 2 days before Thanksgiving. That would mean we were only at Whitefall for one night. One night. It was impossible. I ran straight to the payphone on the outside of the building, inserted the quarters I'd made sure to get as change, and dialed Mandy's number.
Hello?
Mel?
Hey, baby, where are you?
Mel, when was the last time you talked to me?
What?
She asked, confusion in her voice. When was the last time I called?
Yesterday, the connection was bad. I was trying to tell you about my doctor's appointment. Did you hear me? The line was really bad.
I tried to breathe deeply. Yeah, baby, I heard you.
Good. How's the trip?
Mel, did you hear me on the line?
Yeah. You told me you loved me and that you were always there.
Yeah, and I am, Mel.
I know.
I'd do anything for you and our daughter.
Oh, it's a girl now?
Yeah, I really think it is. I heard the driver whistle, then told Mel I loved her again and I would call her from Billings. I tried to stagger the burgers so I wouldn't make myself sick. I was still starving and weak. First burger almost made me throw up. I ate half a burger every few hours after that. I was nervous about Post Falls. We arrived in the evening, close to 9. It was cold, not as cold as the terminal at Whitefall had been. I clutched Mack's letter in my hand as I exited the bus. I saw her immediately. She had dark hair and was short like Mack. The thing that stopped me dead were the kids in her arms. A toddler on her hip and a little boy holding her hand, and he looked a whole lot like his grandfather. I took a deep breath. The woman looked nervous but excited. She rocked from foot to foot, and a man behind her rubbed her shoulder and whispered into her ear. I was glad he was there. She needed support after I gave her the letter. I walked over to Mack's daughter and waited for her to notice me, but she didn't even see me. So intent was she on watching the stairs on the bus. Elaine? She started, and her eyes shot to mine, her eyebrows pinched in confusion.
Yes?
I held the letter out to her. This is from your father. She took it slowly, then glanced back at the bus.
Where is he?
He really wanted to come. It was all I could say. I could only hope that Mack told her the rest.
He's not coming?
Tears filled her eyes. No, but he really wanted to, Elaine. More than he wanted anything else.
I don't understand.
I nodded at the paper in her hands. Read the letter. I turned and headed toward the payphones.
Wait,
She called. I turned back to her.
do you know my father?
I'd like to think so. Maybe. Never told me his real name. She was quiet a moment.
Arthur Warren McKenzie. That's his name.
Nodded.
Thank you for the letter.
She said, then turned back to her husband. I walked toward the phone bank, ready to call my girl. You were wrong, Mack. Your whole family was here waiting for you. Man, you know what? That got me. that ow. That's your whole family.
Not us choking back tears right now. CK Walker, man. knows character, knows dialogue. It's like I think that's their strongest part of her
yes,
writing.
Yeah. For all my qualms, there will be these like grand slam moments like that. Your whole family's here waiting for you. Just well done. I got off the bus in Spokane. I didn't turn around. Hacker was still on it, though he spent most of his time listening to his headphones and playing pocket poker. My Walkman was gone. Out of the fire weeks ago. But then I changed my mind. I climbed back onto the bus, walked right to his seat, didn't wait for him to see me, and punched him in the face. Kneed him in the nuts. I used his hair to jerk his face upright. His nose was already bleeding. How's that for playing nice, Acker? I threw him onto the floor while Richard, the bus driver, yelled at me to get off, promising I'd never ride a Greylord bus again. My family was there to meet me at the Spokane terminal. Took me home. I ate, rested, and eventually got my strength back. My uncles gave me a job. I worked it 3 weeks and then used the money to buy a ticket for my girl. A plane ticket. Mel gave birth to our daughter in May. We named her Amanda Gracie Stykes. Ouch. The bus company thought I was crazy when I called to complain. They told me there was no station in Whitefall. In fact, there are no stops between Fargo and Great Falls, Montana. Furthermore, they said there was no city called Whitefall anywhere in the continental United States. Since my ticket was long gone, there was no way to prove it had been real, other than the deaths. I often wondered about those missing persons investigations and where it led the detectives. If there was no Whitefall, there was nowhere to look. They must have decided all those people had simply vanished into thin air, and maybe they had. I try not to think about Whitefall anymore, 30 years later, but it's there at night. In my dreams, the ones that turned to nightmares, I never really escaped, because I always go back. And in my dreams, I always will.
End. So I just want to say this. This is my immediate reaction to that ending. Mm-hmm. Is this not Max? Like it feels like there's a huge connection between everything, between all these like different characters and stuff. It almost feels like the story is being told as if it's the letter that Mack wrote. That's the letter that he gave to Elaine. And like Elaine is that, like it's that relationship that could have happened. It feels like there's like I'm not saying that that's like literal, but it almost seems like that's the case. It's like this
this
weird
is the kind of thing he would told her. That's where this record of it comes from. Almost.
It's almost like it's almost like the Whitefall is which this might sound really stupid, which you know me, I say a lot of stupid things on the show. It almost feels like it's different like dimensions or times that are crossing over at the same point. Like it almost feels like to me like Mack was like a representation of him from the future where he did abandon his kid. It almost even seems like Gracie and like other characters could have been like his Mel, it could have been his daughter. All through these different time periods where they have intersected because of like this one act of like a person at the very beginning, which is the catalyst of this conflict, which is like Mel showing up being like, I'm pregnant. And how did this version of these people respond? It almost seems because right now there's a lot of things that like, I don't know if it's just going completely over my head. Right. But it seems like one, the setup and this like, almost like the first half of the story almost felt like a little bit like a nothing burger. Once again, though, if I went back and reread it, maybe I would catch new things. But it felt like it was just like
it took a while to get there.
It took a while to get there in the sense that the first half of the story is legitimately who are these characters and why are they on the road? In the way that like we didn't even and like who are these characters and why are they on the road? It's more so like who are these like who is Stykes and who are the accompanying characters in this bus or whatever. Like even Gracie and her boyfriend, there's points where I was like, man, you know, it would have been really nice if that guy would have stayed and he would have been the one to initiate this like weird cannibalism thing because we've seen how crazy he is. And like there would have been more motive in with Gracie's boyfriend. But one thing that's kind of interesting is that everybody's who either running away from something or trying to get somewhere is not on this bus or they're like not a part of this Whitefall terminal. It's like they're all outside sources that are not like crossing at this point, which is also why I think once again it's like this weird mashup of like I don't know. It's just this weird crossover between all these parallel universes and stuff. It's very interesting. I don't know. Like I said, it just feels like really the beginning of the story is cheesy, kind of cornballish in a lot of ways. And then it kind of picks up in this weird where it almost just feels like it's a love letter to the mist. And it's kind of like doing this thing where people are isolated. And then you get like at the end, it just feels like towards the end, you get all these things where, yeah, it's cannibalism, but you get all these great character moments and these great character pieces where people are kind of like, they're either fighting for something or they're able to let go of something. Like even Mack being like, I don't think I'm going to survive this. I think is really him as a character saying, not that he doesn't deserve it, but he's like, my life with my daughter is gone. Whatever. And like this, I just wanted to tell her this. Like this, I would never have the relationship that I wanted with my daughter. And like, you know, I fucked up and I did this thing. So it feels like there's like all of these nice resolutions that are happening. And it feels like the same way that like when the guy shoots all those people in the car or whatever, and then he's at the end of the mist. Yeah. And then the thing clears at the end of the mist. It almost feels like these resolutions or almost even it seems like as soon as Stykes was able to almost eat somebody or consume Mack or whoever it was on the ground, that's whenever the speaker's like, hey, by the way, we're cleared up.
The moment everyone in, because he was the last holdout. So it was the moment everyone was either dead or a cannibal. Everyone has been eaten or
and that doesn't feel random. I feel like there's just something I'm not seeing yet.
Not,
and I'm curious
what
I
think
some of the commenters say.
To me, what it is everyone who was on here had, well, at least the ones we get from our group, everyone who was on here had a determination to change or do something or survival or something like that, right? So our main character is obvious, Mel, going to be a father, stuff like that. You have Mack, who was determined to see his daughter. You had Gracie, who was determined to be a survivor and get away from what they had done. And then you had Dylan, who had the determination to go see Sam. And like the relationship hadn't worked before, but this time he was going to make it work. So you had all these people who were going to change things. They had done a lot wrong in their life or had a lot done wrong to them, and now they were getting away from it. So it is almost in that sense that the Whitefall station acts as purgatory, not in the way a lot of us think of like, oh, it's a place we wait until we get to pass on to the other side, but purgatory in a traditional Catholic sense of a place of penance, right? Where you have to be put into and you have to either be lost forever or you have to rise to the occasion. You have to meet the challenge. It seems the challenge here, if we want to take cannibalism as a stand-in for determination, it was a dedication to survive, even if it means throwing away what you know of your humanity or purpose. Because the whole time, our main character Chris was fighting back against the idea of cannibalism because it's losing your humanity, it's throwing it away, but it is through sacrificing his humanity that he manages to live. So it's almost like a message of these people have to lose everything they know in order to find something new. And those that aren't able to do that not only drag themselves down, but everyone else down who dies in the meantime, right? There's also a lot of selfishness seen from the people that do die. Acker's a survivor, but other than him, you have like the Polacks, right? The daughter who sacrifices her father, and then she herself dies. And you have the people making deals with Kansas City to kill the others and all kinds of stuff like that. So
there's all these.
You have. Go ahead.
Okay.
What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
So you have people who are determined to be selfish from the get-go, but it's almost like in a thematic sense, they don't make it because they were sacrificing for the sake of self, right? There was no greater determination. Where you have salvation through our characters sacrificing for the sake of something greater. If that be to get to Sam, if that be to get back to, be a father, to be with Mel and things like that. You have sacrifice with purpose versus a throwing away of a humanity you don't care for selfishness. Like, yeah, sure, Emily gave up her dad, but then she died the next day. It meant nothing. So to me, it feels like, which I have to brew on it a bit more, but it feels like the Whitefall station is a stand-in for a payment of a bus ticket, almost, of something you have to pay for, something to go through that's only one night but feels like months for the people that are in it.
Which it corresponds really well with Feed the Pig there. That's when we were reading it, I didn't want to say that it had that same theme of like a Feed the Pig kind of meme.
Yeah, you got to crawl through it to get through it. Yeah.
That being said, there was still a couple things, because I agree. I think that like all of it feels like payment. It also feels like fighting people who have maybe not so much for Gracie, but I guess it's people that are standing up for themselves or for the things that they want the most. Like Gracie being like, I'm not going to be abused anymore, and I'm going to leave this like toxic environment. But I feel like for Stykes, it's like a matter of doing basically like changing his life for the things that he wants in terms of like his like family and shit. The only thing that I thought was interesting is that Ackner is the opposite of everybody there so far, a little bit. Ackner was mostly the guy who was taking his family for granted. And one thing I really wish happened was that whenever the buses came to pick him up, like maybe he lost his ticket or he wasn't able to leave or something. Him kind of getting this, I mean, like, yeah, he gets punched in the face at the end, but it's like he still gets out of it. It's like I'm still. Once again,
I really like he lost his ticket. That sounds awesome.
You know what I mean? Like something
everyone
like that.
Everyone else is dead or leaves, and then like the bus leaves without him. Gosh, that would have been that would have fit so well.
But once again, it doesn't feel random. I'm wondering, like, I would love to hear. I'm sure some people that were reading this were maybe more receptive to it, but I would love to know people's basically like description or decipher of his character, because I will say I really liked him as a villain. Like I know I did the flaunty kind of like bombastic voice or whatever, but it like honestly I was kind of getting into it just because of like how overly evil and like selfish and disgusting like his like character traits were. It was almost like comical, like using that voice, and it like fit, you know. But I'm still lost on that. It seems like so many people.
Maybe if you view it like objectively, like not in a sense of morality, but in an objection of like, if you want to get through, you've got to be willing to, you know, put away your humanity. Maybe that's just easy for someone like Acker who wasn't held on to it, because he did have something he was trying to get for in that final line where he's like, oh, I'm going to see my girlfriend. So there was something he wanted to get on the other side of. But when he was presented with like, you have to abandon your humanity to get out, he said, no problem, and just dove into it. So maybe then it's kind of a harsh lesson, but similar to Lord of the Flies, maybe it's just the idea of those who are willing to throw off societal ties for the sake of their own survival tend to be the ones who survive. Without a system of governance, might does make right when it comes to living.
This had a kind of, maybe not as poignant, but like Lord of the Flies has this great ending where the people show up and all the kids basically return to being children and they're just a crying, you know. That's the best moment of the book to me. That makes the whole book. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And the in this part with Ackner pulling out the candy bars, which is not like that would have saved him, but it's just this idea that it's like you had this thing, but yet you still.
I love him pulling out the candy bar.
I thought that was a great moment. Yeah. I thought that was his strongest moment. I just thought that was really fun. Yeah. There's a lot to chew on, man. I don't know. Like, I mean,
there is.
It's weird
this
because
is a story that I underestimated at the midway point and was getting upset with. Kind of, I mean, because I thought we were falling into some of the tropes.
Full transparency. I mean, like we went to use like a restroom break, or whatever, and we were just kind of sitting there being like, I don't know, like I'm just not really sure. And luckily, I don't know, like this is the second time recently where we've read something and like it's one of those images to me, which this is going to be stupid, and I kind of hate these like meme template engagement bait posts. But it's like that thing where it's like a stick figure horse at the beginning and then turns into like a fully rendered drawing or whatever. And people are like, what movies is like this? You know what I mean? Where it's like beginning, like that, the fully rendered part's awesome. And then the stick figures, like it went to shit. To me, it's literally that moment though, where it's just like this first half was just like, it's just so cheesy, so cornbally, like them rooting for when he beats up the guy and they're all like, yeah, and they throw him off. And it's like this kind of weird moment. But once again, CK Walker just does this great thing where she's able to, I don't know, she just makes you give a fuck about characters, really strong with dialogue. That's the weird thing too, is it's either sometimes it's like so comically Marvel or cringe, you know? And then other moments it's like she has you in the palm of her hand. It's very, that dynamic is so polarizing, but I think that's also what makes it so fun. Makes you want to stay around.
Hold on 1 second.
But yeah. Any final thoughts or is that it?
Okay. I don't know what happened, but while I was in the Discord call, it showed that I had joined it twice. And then it wasn't letting me, when I'd leave, it wouldn't let me come back in. So I'm now talking to you on the phone.
Oh, well.
The ending of Whitefall was so good. It's almost like maybe she has these ideas for moments, like the ending of Whitefall and the bus station and all that. And then she draws out the moments she wants and they're excellent. And then she's like, all right, and I'm going to have fun in between. And I feel like, funny enough, this is the thing I was going to say earlier that I said I'd save to the end. Her writing reminds me so much of Stephen King. Because personally, I don't like Stephen King's writing that much. I think he's a great writer and I love a lot of his concepts, but I don't like reading Stephen King books. Because in my opinion, they so often have excellent ideas and these really cool premises. And obviously he's a horror juggernaut, right? But the reading of it, like the in-between, will have so much fluff, or it will meander, or it'll have these goofy moments that throw you off from the main point, that it feels like a lot of his, to me, which again, who am I to talk about Stephen King? A lot of his stuff, I almost feel like would be better as a novella sometimes. And I think his best writings are his novellas. Things like The Shawshank Redemption, and I think The Green Mile was also one, wasn't it?
Yep.
Or I may be wrong.
Yep, no, it is.
Because when it's more concise, it sticks with it. And I was thinking about how C.K. Walker's writing reminds me of Stephen King. And then there's that scene where it's like, oh, Stephen King, he's a mastermind. So, there's probably a bunch of people, including our audience, who do not mind the goofiness at all, who don't mind,
of course,
Acker being like, play nice, and they can still, but it doesn't take away from the seriousness.
All subjective.
For me, I have such a problem with it pulling down the weight of everything else around it. And don't get me wrong, the story, to me, in my opinion, certainly pulled itself back up by the end, that I was hooked and I was in it. But for me, the quips bring it down so much. But there's a lot of people who probably like that and it doesn't bother them. And more power to you.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, you're right. And it's just a subjective thing. I mean, that's just all personal taste, and that's just for our, this is just our opinion. So definitely, I wouldn't say that. That's just all subjective, I guess. I would like if someone's like, "Oh, I like it," I wouldn't be like, "How?" It's just sometimes it's just
I get it. This story was more than worth reading for the ending.
I think so. I mean,
absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot.
It makes so much sense to me, and this will be my last thing. Is it just makes so much sense that she's had success with screenplay writing. That ending shot with him walking up and the people waiting at the bus station. So much of what she writes, I just picture it. It's just so clear in my head, and I'm like, that must translate so naturally to, screenplays for something for you to watch and just sit back.
The bus appearing from the whiteness. And then, man, when he pulled out that candy bar, I could see it in my head.
Yeah,
like
100%.
The focus arriving on
so
it as
clean.
it comes out.
Did you picture the wrappers being like super, super clean? I did. I was like, oh my God.
Polished, super polished. And I imagined Chris next to it just staring at it, open mouth, looking. Hasn't seen a candy bar in weeks.
Gaunt, pale
and he
skin.
just had one the whole time. Just excellent stuff like that. Yeah. I do see how it makes sense for Acker to live from the sake of like, hey, maybe might makes right. But gosh, I love the idea you said if he forgot his ticket.
To me, that's when I was like waiting for it too. I was like, oh my God. I was like waiting for a moment for me to like stand up and be like, yeah, because fuck that guy. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like someone's going to have a comment or something that's just perceives it in some way where I'm going to be like, oh shit. Yeah, exactly. Well,
I'm really glad we read it. CK Walker needs no introduction, obviously.
We will be linking the book though.
We will be linking the book, the Baraska, of course, which, the OG, and we'll have her website linked in the description as well. And yeah, I agree with you. It makes so much sense that she's so successful as a screenwriter because similar to King, who I like more as a screenwriter typically than the actual books. So a lot of the visuals are so beautiful, translate so well. So I get it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. We'll have her stuff linked in the description. One of the juggernauts of the creepypasta or online horror space. So we certainly enjoyed, and hopefully you all do too.
Guys, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, take a second to maybe give us a nice rating. It does help us out. And then also thank you to our patrons who do support the channel and help us just kind of keep this thing going and have some fun stuff, some extra goodies on the side. So thank you so much. But until next time, guys, stay creeped, and we'll see you in the next one.
Stay creeped. And, moral of the story, maybe sometimes you got to eat an old man. I don't know when you'd find yourself in that situation, but you should try it sometime. Bye.